Several of the picks are making history. The first immigrant and Latino in charge of DHS, the first woman to serve as director of national intelligence, and even a brand new cabinet position for climate.
Fox's Hillary Vaughn also announced the White House will begin giving the president-elect its daily presidential briefing. Mr. Biden says he hasn't yet had an intelligence briefing, but it has been offered. Despite ongoing challenges, Pennsylvania and Nevada have certified their election results. 2 weeks from Thursday, that's when the Food and Drug Administration will consider coronavirus vaccine test results.
The FDA will meet on December 10th to look at the results of these recent trials. If all goes well, Operation Warp Speed can begin vaccine distribution within 24 hours of authorization. CVS Health has said it expects to begin vaccinating residents of nursing homes within 48 hours after FDA authorization.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin reports the U.S. already has purchase agreements in place for up to 300 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. On Wall Street, record territory for the Dow, up 450 points, closing above 30,000 for the first time ever. At the White House, celebratory remarks from the president.
I just want to congratulate all the people within the administration that work so hard. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the people of our country, because there are no people like you.
NASDAQ gained 156 points. The S&P 500 closed 57 points higher. 2 New York City police officers recovering after being shot while responding to a domestic disturbance on Tuesday. The suspect was shot to death. America is listening to Fox News.
Life can be stressful, even under normal circumstances. 2020 has challenged even the most difficult times of life. These days, you need stress relief that goes beyond quick fixes. That's Headspace. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. Headspace is one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So, however today's news hits you, Headspace really can help you feel better. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. Backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, Headspace has 600,000 five-star reviews and over 60 million downloads. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/Fox. That's headspace.com/Fox for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/Fox today.
A holiday tradition observed at the White House today.
President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump in the White House Rose Garden hosting the annual turkey pardoning ceremony, sparing the lives of not one, but 2 turkeys.
We're here today to continue a beloved annual tradition, the official presidential pardon of a very, very fortunate turkey.
Corn received an official presidential pardon, and Cobb will serve as an alternate. Both turkeys will spend the rest of their lives on a farm at Iowa State University. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
Despite being urged not to, many Americans are headed somewhere for the holiday, as Fox's Casey Stegall discovered at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
A lot of passengers that are waiting in line to get their bags checked and go through security. DFW is the nation's 4th busiest airport, and officials here tell us that they expect about 65% volume compared to last year. And nationwide,
if you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Following several months of negotiations, representatives at the Minnesota State Museum confirmed today that they have extended their final offer to the anonymous owner of the couch from the hit 1970s sitcom The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
We hope an agreement can be reached soon because after months of back and forth, we just need a straight answer here.
Healy noted that the brown velvet artifact would be a welcome addition to its media wing, which boasts a robust collection, including several iconic Minnesota pieces.
We have the fence from Grumpy Old Men. We acquired the puck from the Mighty Ducks several months ago.
Healy and his team made their first bid in December of 2012 and have cycled through 5 rounds of negotiations, reportedly tripling their initial offer in an urgent attempt to secure the sale.
It's not every day that an artifact of this significance comes on the market and went, oh my God, it's him. It's him, okay? Hello, sir. What would you say if I went up another 2?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And it's Ian.
And we're going into the holidays. Americans, I'm happy to see, are traveling. I also encountered this today when I went to the bank. The teller was informing me about how they were super busy today because a lot of people are taking out money to go traveling.
Good.
She was not happy about that.
Really?
Yeah.
What a busybody.
I know. I don't intend to really do any traveling, but it's because I'm not one of those, let's go see the whole family sorts of. Yeah,
we're going to travel to the Indian restaurant, I think.
We are. Because we know for sure it will be open. We won't be required to wear masks.
Yes.
And
some businesses are already closed today, as we discovered tonight. We were trying to go and grab some food before the show, and a couple of our usual haunts. The couple of that, one that takes crypto and another that we love to go to, the Jamaican place in town, were closed.
And we hope to have the Jamaican restaurant taking crypto.
Yeah, working
early
on it.
Next year.
It's going to take some time.
She's going to hate that she hasn't been taking it all of this time.
She's going to be mad, yeah.
But hey, you tried. You gave her everything she needed to know.
But yeah, people are already closed, and it's not even, we're 2 days out. It's not even Thanksgiving Eve at this point.
Yeah, and that's strange to me because these are the times when people don't want to cook.
You would think.
It seems like this would be the worst time for a restaurant to close down.
Except last week, we heard from actually the very same 2 places that are closed. Or no, one of the places that was closed. 2 of them, anyway, said that their business was way down from 1 week to the next. And one of the changes that had been made was the governor here in New Hampshire, His Excellency himself, Chris Sununu, had announced a statewide mask mandate, and it seemed like their business fell off a cliff shortly after that.
That's my suspicion.
But that's weird because they're already in Keene, these businesses, and there already was like a citywide mask mandate.
Oh, but now it's the governor. Now it's a higher level of authority telling them they have to be afraid, so they take it a little bit more seriously. And is it actually a mandate, or is it another suggestion from His Excellency?
Well, it depends on how you read it.
I read it the way I want to, so I hear suggestion.
Actually, it's pretty clearly written. There are a ton of exemptions in this particular mask mandate. So, if you're looking at mask mandates and comparing mask mandates, it's one of the better ones, but that's not okay because it's still being reported as though it's a mask mandate. It's being talked about in the media as though it's just an across-the-board mandate, and of course what people hear is what they repeat. So when they have conversations with one another, they all talk about how they've heard that there's a mask mandate, or the stores are saying there's a mask mandate. So the media says a thing, the stores say a thing, and the people believe that thing.
It worked here in Keene even before Keene passed the mask mandate.
Sure.
I mean, there were already signs up saying, hey, due to state regulations, you have to wear a mask when entering, but they said no such thing. And now there's one. To some extent.
Somebody posted in the Absolute Defiance Telegram chat, which is one of the places where people are gathering to oppose this stuff. Excuse me.
I haven't actually joined that one. I was at the Absolute Defiance gathering that we had here at Central Square.
Yeah. You spoke at that one.
That's Footloose, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's now a public Telegram group about that, which is cool.
Do you
Because they're
remember
trying to get off of Facebook, because Facebook is taking down all of their events now.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But before you go on,
they're
with
called
the question,
Absolute Defiance,
Right.
and Facebook is they don't want
they're
defiance.
the opposite of that. So somebody posted a Market Basket, which for those that aren't familiar is a grocery store up in the New England area. Market Basket now has a large like stand-up sign out front, like a poster board kind of sign or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got on the sign, it says to promote customer and associate wellness, then a image, like a clip art image of a mask, check mark. Face coverings are required. Thank you for your blah, blah, blah. But then at the top, there's now a bright red, neon red sign that's been added to the sign that says, new executive order by state of NH with 2 exclamation marks. And then all in caps, everyone is required to wear a mask. 2 more exclamation marks.
There are many businesses that are not honoring any exemptions whatsoever.
Right. Or, so, have they actually read this? I suspect not.
Oh, of course not.
Because if they had read the order, they would know there are a ton of exemptions to it.
Well, the police who are enforcing these orders haven't read them either, as
Probably
we
not.
learned several months ago when they were pulling somewhere over, and the guy said that an N95 mask was acceptable despite the fact that they were explicitly banned in the ordinance.
Is that
It's
right?
not about actually obeying the law. It's just about virtue signaling. It's just about showing that you want to obey.
Mm-hmm. And that you care, and that you care about your neighbors. Because if you don't wear a mask, you don't care.
There are stores and restaurants that will let you come in if you just pull your shirt up over your face for a few seconds. It's so
ridiculous,
absurd.
It's
I would
ridiculous.
rather wear a mask, however, than to pull my shirt up over my face like a child.
It's all so dumb.
They have to feel silly doing that. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of masks either. But hey, this whole thing might be going away soon.
Sure, just like after Biden got elected, it was going to go away. Now what?
Well, they have vaccines coming out, and they're hoping to begin distributing them as early as next month. So before Christmas time, you should expect to see these vaccines being rolled out. I dread to think.
I hope to never see one of these vaccines. Because if I see
I'm
it,
not,
they're going to be trying to force it into my veins.
Yeah, I am not getting one of these.
Yeah.
But who knows what the fallout of that is going to be. People are afraid, man.
Well, there's already news that the airlines are developing some sort of an app to confirm that you have received a vaccine.
Alarmingly, there are a fair bit of side effects from the COVID-19 vaccine, as anyone would have guessed. But what surprises me about this, and again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a biology expert, but
we're just talk show hosts.
We were told several months ago that the whole reason herd immunity wouldn't work was because the antibodies from the virus only last a certain number of time. And it was like 40-something days or something like that, meaning that a person could catch COVID-19 a second time.
Okay.
A vaccine just gives you the antibodies for that virus by essentially giving you a weaker version of it that doesn't have as many symptoms or whatever. It's inert in some way.
Okay.
And your body builds those antibodies so that you can't get the virus again. But that those vaccine-caused antibodies should still go away after 40 days.
Well,
or
you're just going to have to get another
is.
vaccine. Now you have to get 2 vaccines every year.
You do have to get
or
2.
3. Or 4. Maybe once a month. Maybe everybody needs to get a vaccine once a month just to be safe.
I suspect it's once a month that we'll see. You do have to get 2 shots with these vaccines from Pfizer and somewhere else, Moderna's.
There's dozens of these things they're developing across the planet.
And health officials are concerned because once they give you this first shot, the side effects really, really suck. And they're like, people aren't going to come back for the second one. They're not going to come back and let us do this to them again. So they're concerned. They say that public health officials and drug makers need to warn people that the coronavirus vaccine shots may have some rough side effects. So they know what to expect.
You weren't sick yet. Now you're going to get sick.
Said both of the COVID-19 vaccines require two doses at varying intervals. She's worried whether her patients, this is Dr. Sandra Freihofer, she's worried whether her patients will even come back for the second dose because of the unpleasant side effects they'll experience after the first shot. She says, we really need to make patients aware that this is not going to be a walk in the park. They are going to know they had a vaccine. They are probably not going to feel wonderful, but they've got to come back for that second dose.
Oh, boy. Side effects. By the way, side effects are just effects that don't get advertised.
That's an excellent point.
These are the effects the drug has. We don't really want to tell you about it, but we kind of have to, so we're going to list them over here as side effects.
Well, Viagra was invented to like control blood pressure or something like
and
that.
It had a side effect.
And it had a side effect. They're like, okay, we're going to market this side effect.
Right.
Benadryl was developed for allergies, and now they just take that same thing and put it in Tylenol PMs and advertise it as a sleep aid. So it's definitely a good point. You'll experience high fever, body aches, bad headaches, day-long exhaustion, and other symptoms after receiving the shots. Boy, I got to tell you, it just sounds so much fun.
Don't forget the side effect of death. I bet you that's one of them, too.
I'm sure it is. So far as I know, no one has died as a result of getting the COVID-19 vaccine.
At least not that they've said.
But every time they rushed out one of these vaccines, people have died.
Oh, yeah. Good things always happen when you're in a rush in life. Haven't you noticed?
Are you looking forward to getting your vaccine? Twice. Enjoying these side effects of bad headaches and high fever? 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. D-I-V-I Project.org. Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Early Bitcoin wallets cashing in. Is Satoshi back? Investment expert Dr. Doom calls Bitcoin a store of value. Bitcoin Cash forks. Everything's fine. Bitcoin price surges above 18,000 US dollars. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Free Bitcoin Cash when you download their wallet at bitcoin.com.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need. A WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Free Talk Live.
I look up on internet and tried to research some stuff that everybody's been talking about. And, you know, It's all true.
What?
It's true.
What is?
Everything that's going on in this country.
The heck are you talking
Everything that you're talking about, I'm talking about 9/11.
We don't talk about that.
Everything.
Yeah, you're being incredibly vague.
I know what's going on. I mean, people get in an airplane and they talk about, well, they were talking on this plane and they were doing this from that to this and that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Didn't work back then.
What is this and that? You need to be a lot less vague because I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything, Dale. Everything is true.
Everything is true. Okay, that's going on in this country.
Yes, what I'm trying to tell. Everything is true, but they will not listen.
Everything.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. The only show where you can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. And I don't know if you're watching the value of Bitcoin, but you should be, because it just reached 19,000. It's at least pretty close to an all-time high, if it's not already at an all-time high. We do expect 20,000 relatively soon. But if you don't know anything about it, head on over to bitcoin.com. It's the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go there now and click Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a ton of information neatly organized by your needs. There is no longer an excuse for ignorance of this important world-changing information. But if you are a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com for latest headlines of all the news relevant to you. So bitcoin.com, it's your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a sleek and easy-to-use website, bitcoin.com. They will also give you Bitcoin. I mean, it's a small amount of Bitcoin. I think it's Bitcoin Cash that they give you, to be clear. I don't think they actually give out BTC. But the news is filled with people freaking out over COVID-19, except people are freaking out not so much about COVID-19, but about how Americans aren't concerned about COVID-19 and are actually traveling. I look forward to seeing more people traveling. I don't want to travel. I don't want to actually interact with that many people, but people are traveling, and I'm happy to see that, because it means maybe Americans are sick of this. Maybe there is a point at which Americans will no longer just sit in their homes and obey.
I sure hope so. There is a Reuters story that says that it maybe millions of Americans are disregarding the public health warnings and traveling ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. Although fewer in numbers than last year, travelers are flocking to airports and highways against the advice of the Centers for Disease Control, as well as various different mayors of cities and other bureaucrats such as the U.S. Surgeon General and Dr. Fauci.
Well, I mean, people have been dealing with this crap almost the entire year.
And it's not lightening up. It's not getting easier.
No, the government has kept people from their family and their friends. It's largely successfully for almost this entire year. Humans are social creatures. They want to see their family and friends, and they're going to.
I sure hope so, because, otherwise this is going to be the most, and I think it still will be, because some people will still be too scared. Sure. It's going to be the most depressing holiday season of our lives. I mean, it is just, it won't affect me at all.
I don't know anyone who has changed their plans for Thanksgiving this year as opposed to what they were doing last year.
Really?
I'm sure some people have, but everyone I know, both
they're doing something
here in Keene and here in the Keene Libertarian community and where I work, everyone's doing the same thing they did last year.
Well, I mean, we are in New Hampshire, so maybe that's a factor. There was somebody on our chat over at the Matrix chat over at chat.lrn.fm where you can go and join in with other Free Talk Live listeners. And one of the guys there, Sir Kenosha Kyle, His Eminence, he says that his family used to be conservatives. He says, my once conservative family has now turned COVID cucks. Aunt is hosting a limited gathering requiring masks and social distancing. So even people who thought their family would stay and do the normal thing, in some cases, they're not.
That's frustrating.
So, yeah, I suspect that's not an uncommon story this year.
Let's go to the phones. We got Mike calling from Gold Bar, Washington. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live.
Before you go, Mike,
Hi, you guys.
I just want to invite people to
hold on, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to invite people to call in. What's your family doing? Are you guys having the normal thing, or is it the new socially distanced version? But you're gonna have something, but it's gonna be all paranoid, or is there nothing happening at all? So if you want to call in and express yourself, please do 855-450 free. Go ahead, Mike.
Hold on one second.
Oh, sorry
okay,
about
go
that.
ahead, Mike.
The only options I have for Thanksgiving are a bunch of places with snotty-nosed kids. So I'm just going to stay home because I don't even want to catch a regular cold, let alone some other thing, and I don't wear a mask because I'm told to, but I do live in a complex with a whole bunch of strangers, too many of them for my liking, actually. So I wear it just because, and then I don't have to talk to anybody. But I actually called to ask Aria something. And Aria, I hope you don't mind me asking you about this, but Washington State has a new sex education bill that they tried to pass, but I don't think it did pass. And it's seems to be this big controversy because it's like pornographic material in kindergarten. And I'm sure that's not the real case. And I'm not able to really see it well enough to read it and find out what the ins and outs are. But I have to wonder, so what they're basically doing is putting sex education into school at a much younger grade level. And I can only wonder, I don't have my own kids, but when I was 8 years old, if that would have not been a good idea for me to know a little bit more about things that were happening with the neighbor man, if I would have been more educated in the school. I'm just wondering what your take on it is. If you don't know, and if you don't, would you look into it to
I am
talk about
opposed
it?
to the public school system being used to raise people's children because the parents can't be bothered to. I think that the conversation about sex is probably best done by parents or other trusted family members rather than by a cold, uncaring teacher. And not that all teachers are uncaring and cold, but I mean, this is not what they're supposed to do. They shouldn't be teaching children how to share, that it's a good idea to share, or how to have sex or how not to have sex. But if there's going to be a sex ed program, it should actually be useful to people. And most of these sex ed programs I've seen are not. They're just going to focus on STDs and create this huge fear campaign and not actually teach people anything useful. Just like drug abuse resistance education, it didn't teach anyone any useful information about drugs.
Well, look, I mean, the government goons shouldn't be having school anyway. There shouldn't be anything such as a government school, because then you always have conflicts with one set of groups or one set of parents that wants this curriculum, maybe, the Bible, and then another set of parents that doesn't want the Bible, and then another set of parents that wants sex ed, and then another set that does, and they're constantly fighting over what the curriculum should be. And it's like, how about we just not have any government schools whatsoever, and then the parents that want really detailed sex ed can send their kids to a school that offers that, or the parents that want Bible education can send their kids to that school. So, if you want to avoid this, the best solution is to get your kids out of the government school, and then you do it yourself. On the other hand, as you pointed out, Aria, woo, you okay? I don't know what that was. Sound like a sneeze, or his phone blew up or something like that. I don't know what that was.
Nope, it wasn't anything.
Okay.
Thank you. I agree with both of you on both.
Yeah, get the government out of it. That said, I imagine the sex education out there varies wildly, right? Like from, imagine the sex education in the Bible Belt.
I can tell you all about it.
Yeah.
We didn't have it when I was in school, but my ex-wife's younger sister did have to go through it, and it was just straight up STD, fear-mongering. Abstinence is the only way to stay safe. And I was like, this is why the rate of STD, this is why the gonorrhea rate in Mississippi is higher than anywhere else in the United States. It's why the teen pregnancy rate is higher than anywhere else in the United States. It's because you're not teaching these children anything useful. Instead, teach them how to use condoms. That would be, and I don't mean teach them, I mean explain to them how to use condoms. That would be something that would be useful. But no, that encourages them to have sex. Just like, teaching them to stop, drop, and roll encourages them to catch on fire, right?
When I was in 6th grade, we had the genitalia coloring contest, and it was very fun, and it brought a level of humor to the whole thing that some people didn't appreciate. But that teacher was memorable.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving? 855-450-3733. Again, that's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Marquette Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have 2 cats, Sweet Pea and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynovite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynovite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cats to Dynovite, I took the advice from Dynovite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynovite for life. You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
What am I being detained for? You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria and Ian, and we want to know, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? We're going to the Indian restaurant here in Keene that takes cryptocurrency, but we did that last year too, so that it's not like we're not avoiding any Thanksgiving dinners or anything like that.
That's our new tradition. We've had activist Thanksgivings for many years up here, and from what I understand, those are happening still.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the there's one family that's doing it in this area I heard about recently. There's definitely
Would that
some
be the
going
one
on.
in Westmoreland?
Yeah. And there's definitely some going on in other parts of the state. So I know there's one over on the seacoast, and there's one in Manchester as well. So those do happen here. And sort of the motivation of that is, for those that aren't aware, we do have libertarians who've been migrating here for the last decade and a half as part of the Free State Project and the New Hampshire Freedom Migration. A lot of these folks are coming without their families. So having the sort of the activist Thanksgiving gives people an opportunity to come together and have that normal kind of Thanksgiving Day thing where people bring a dish or whatever and they share. And that, makes it so people don't have to sit at home by themselves.
Which is good.
It's very nice.
I just don't want to cook.
Me neither.
So, I've got better things to do.
And I'd rather give Muhammad some business.
I would too, man, because he's such an awesome guy. Let's go to the phones. We've got Ingrid calling from Maryland. Ingrid, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, yeah, so I got a COVID mask story.
Really?
So I've been working at a semi-public restaurant bar, and then last Friday they were concerned that the health department was going to come in. So she was always like, don't let the health department come in, because it usually was my job that I would let, the regulars come in.
Mm-hmm.
So then last Saturday, I went to the back to talk to a female customer for a few minutes who was having some problems. And then when I came back, who was in there?
The health
department.
Yeah.
Shoot. All right.
Now, why was the health department coming? Was it because people in your establishment are not wearing masks?
Well, we wear masks, but like Maryland, so our governor, I think it was yesterday, that he just announced that he's going to have all these police go after all these businesses to make sure everyone wears their mask.
Mask police. So what are things like there in Maryland? I never hear any news about Maryland.
So wait, was there the rest of a story on this? I'm sorry, did I miss that?
So one of the guys was able to talk to the health department, and the only thing, like he said, was that the bartender shouldn't eat food behind the bar. And then he joked with her because she had a Steelers mask on. So if your listeners don't know, like in Maryland, our team is the Ravens, and then Pennsylvania's team is the Steelers. So he was like, I don't want to talk to a Steelers fan, as a joke.
This is the typical stupid crap that is happening with people and their masks. Is they have logos or whatever, and it gives people something to relate to one another about. Now, I remember early on we were actually at the Indian restaurant early in this whole COVID situation, and I first noticed this when somebody came in and complimented another. So instead of what you're talking about, where they're insulting each other over their masks, the opposite happened, where somebody complimented, "Oh, I really love your mask," and it gave them, sort of the pleasantry sort of interaction that you expect from people to normally talk about the weather or to talk about sports or something like this. In your case, Ingrid, it sounds like they were mixing masks with sports. So masks are just now one of those pleasantries that people who are in the mask world can talk to one another about.
Ingrid, thank you so much for the call. I've seen that as well. Nothing irritates me more, though, than hearing customers or coworkers complimenting each other's masks.
Yep.
I just hate it so much.
It's reinforcing of this sort of new normal concept.
Well, maybe this new normal is going to actually go back to normal because of this vaccine. Of course, that's going to require at least most people to get the vaccine, and it sounds like it's not going to be particularly pleasant. One North Carolina woman in the Moderna study.
It sure won't be pleasant if they try to inject me or my friends with it.
It will not be. She didn't experience a fever, but she suffered a bad migraine that left her drained for a day and unable to focus. Lucky, yes. Having had migraines in the past, no. I would take the fever any day. She says she woke up the next day feeling better after taking Excedrin. Well, that was not a migraine then. Aspirin's not going to help with the migraine. But she added that Moderna may need to tell people to take a day off after a second dose, a day off of work to recover from this vaccine. If this proves to work, people are going to have to toughen up, she said. The first dose is no big deal, and then the second dose will definitely put you down for the day for sure. You will need to take a day off after the second dose. Other officials are said to be, other nurses and doctors and stuff are said to be in agreeing with this, but they're saying we should talk about the side effects in a more positive way. She said they should use language like response instead of adverse reaction. And that's what really got my attention about this article. It starts off talking about how we need to be transparent and clear about the side effects of this. And halfway through, it changes to we need to reword
things.
Yeah, we need to change the entire language. Instead of being transparent about it, we're going to be as unclear about it as possible. These are immune responses, said Stinchfield, a past voting member of some committee that I didn't read about. If you feel something after vaccination, you should expect that. When you do, it's normal to have some arm soreness or fatigue, some body aches, and maybe even a fever. It sounds like in some of these trials, might even have to stay home after work, or might have to stay home from work. If they have to miss 14 days of work, though, that's a huge amount to miss. I think we do have to think about that, the vaccine itself. Man, they should have done some editing here. While there may be some short-term work loss issues, I do think that has to be balanced with the risk of getting an infection. Stinchfield said that some people in the trials have actually been disappointed when they don't suffer the side effects being reported by others.
They're disappointed.
They think they may have gotten the placebo. So that's how much they...
this is under a test. I see, a testing environment where there is a placebo being administered. Okay, gotcha.
Evidently, yeah, they saved that part for the end.
I see.
So the coronavirus side effects sound pretty much like the coronavirus, but evidently shorter.
They say.
Right, and who knows what it's actually going to be, and who knows whether it will actually even work.
Well, who knows? Yeah, well, that's the other thing was the news, a week or two ago, was that they were saying that, I think it was Fauci or one of these goons was saying that, even if you get the vaccine, you're still going to have to do all the social distancing and still wear masks because we won't know and you won't know whether or not the vaccine has actually worked. So what's the point?
I honestly believe that Americans' patience for the masking and the social distancing is at its end.
I hope so.
And that the vaccine will cause all of that nonsense to go away. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't want people to get the vaccine, but I suspect they will. They'll clamor for it. They'll fight each other over it because the doses will be limited at first, and we'll see vaccine shortages just like we saw toilet paper shortages. But people will get it.
And apparently those are happening again in some places.
They are. Amazon didn't deliver some of my items that I've been getting delivered every month for the last 7 or 8 months. And suddenly they're like, we can't get it anymore. I was like, that's fun. Thanks for the warning about that, by the way, Amazon.
Well, I mean, we all had a warning earlier this year.
That's true, and that's why I've been getting them every month for the last 6 or 7 months in quantities much larger than I need.
Right.
So the CDC, speaking of 14 days off of work because you've been tested positive, what's amazed me about this entire thing is that despite having employees that work multiple jobs, one of which was at a hotel, and despite a lot of our employees being college students, a lot of them going out to bars regularly, going out to restaurants regularly, then me and my crap where I went to a freaking festival and then partied out in Central Square every Friday. Not one single employee there has had COVID-19. Not one. And this has been going on for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months. How long has this crap been going on? And I still only know one person who has died while having COVID-19.
That was your fat uncle, right?
Well, I wasn't blood related to this dude. Thank goodness for that.
But he was fat.
He was fat. He was obese. He was diabetic. He did not take care of himself. I mean, the man ate Burger King breakfast every day.
He was probably already on death's door.
4 or 5 years. Oh, for sure. There's a reason he was in a nursing home.
Right.
So he won't be at anyone's Thanksgiving this year. Thank goodness for that. Yeah. Who's coming to your Thanksgiving? Or are you going to someone's Thanksgiving? 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in and talk about anything that is on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And it's Ian.
And if you didn't think this dystopian hell was bad enough, I have good news for the people of the United Kingdom. A freedom pass is coming.
Oh, finally!
Finally, you have a pass to be free.
Oh, so what does that mean? I can pay the government and beg, and then they'll give me a freedom pass?
Sort of.
Yeah?
Yeah, you have to test negative for COVID twice in a week. And that will hook you up with your freedom pass that will allow these people to live a normal life. So you now have to have a license of some sort to, quote, live a normal life.
Well, I mean, I already had to have a driver's license, so it's just another license. What's the big deal?
I don't have an immediate counter to that. I don't think people should have to have driver's licenses.
Indeed.
So it is hoped that the scheme, I like how the Daily Mail keeps referring to it as a scheme. I like that because scheme sounds so shady, right?
It is.
It is hoped the scheme could allow Britons to get back to a relatively normal life. To earn a freedom pass, people will need to get a negative test twice each week. The pass will allow you to mix with friends and family without social distancing or masks. So so it's a permission slip to not wear a mask and not social distance.
So you won't have freedom per se. You'll just go back to the normal level of repression.
Yes.
So prior to March of this year, we'll go back to 2019's level of repression, which is to say the cops are constantly harassing you over other things. Instead of having a mask on, it'll be because you're speeding or because you have a little bit of drugs on you or whatever it was. Well, we'll just go back to treating you like the usual serf instead of the second-class serf that we've been treating you as.
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
To earn the Freedom Pass, people will need to be tested regularly, at least twice a week, evidently.
My God.
And provided that the results come back negative, they will be given a letter, card, or document that they can show people as they move around.
So hold on. You're saying that in order to retain the so-called Freedom Pass, you must continue to get the testing.
Yes.
I see. Can you imagine having to spend 2 days a week of your life going and waiting in whatever line you would have to wait in to get one of these tests?
No, but it sounds horrible.
Yeah, it does.
I wouldn't want to do it. The certificates could be stored on a phone, according to sources, and would allow people to live a relatively normal life until the government's vaccination program gets up to speed.
All right, we're going to need to see your Freedom Pass, miss.
It would even allow Britons to get away without wearing a mask and visit family and friends. Oh, God.
Which means, of course, if you're not wearing a mask, that means that they will then target you and demand to see your Freedom Pass.
It does.
So
Can you just forge one of these things? I mean, if it's just going to be stored on your phone, it seems
then
like
you're going to be dealing with a fraud, defrauding the government or whatever that charge is. Where effectively, if you, for instance,
it's
take
lying
like a
to
state
police, right?
Well,
I'm okay with that.
But as far as like if you got caught forging something like this,
okay,
what happens is the state gets really mad. So if you,
of course it does.
So for instance, if
only it is allowed to counterfeit.
Right. So if you take one of the things that it provides, say like a Freedom Pass, or prior to this, it would be let's say like a license plate for your car. You can go online tonight and go to at least 2 different websites that I know of, licenseplates.tv and I think autoplates. something or other, and you can order a custom plate that looks just like a state license plate.
Nice.
Now,
got all the artwork on it and all of that
the
nonsense?
whole thing.
Okay,
embossed,
cool.
Right? It looks proper. It's like a real license plate, except it's not real because it's not made by the state. And so if you put it on if you just hang it in your living room, it's no problem, right? Like you can have like all 50 states. Some people are into that crap. But if you put it on your car, well, now you're in big trouble. It's not just a misuse of plates. You're then committing a counterfeiting against the state. And now it's like felony level. So like for instance, if you want to print up your own license plate and put it on your car because you're a freedom to travel person, I've done one of these things.
Sure.
Right? I made a Shire plate. It's not counterfeiting if you make a Shire plate because there's no state called the Shire. Right. So whereas if you were to put a New Hampshire or Vermont or some other kind of state license plate on there, now you're looking at extra charges because they don't like it when you take their seals or when you take their names or anything like that.
Well, because their seals are sacred to them.
Yeah.
Like they are in any other religion.
Exactly.
You know? It's super important that people respect that little stamp.
Yep. So this is the same thing. If you were to try to counterfeit this, it might work until you get caught, and then you're going to go to a prison, and they will definitely put a mask on your face in there.
A source told The Telegraph that they will allow someone to wander the streets, and if someone asks why they are not wearing a mask, they can show the card, letter, or an app. So yes, you nailed it before they got to it, but yes, if you're not wearing a mask, the police will come up to you and ask you why.
It will increase your likelihood of a police interaction.
Excellent point.
Mm-hmm.
It comes after former Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt threw his backing behind the Freedom Pass concept. His proposal suggests far less testing, however, with calls for Britons to be tested just once a month before being given their certificates. He said with proper incentives for people to get tested, self-isolate, and receive a vaccine, those things might happen. I tried to reword that because it was worded badly.
It's just the slaves arguing over what masses rules are going to be. No, only one test a month. No, we need 2 tests per week. No, test them every day. I mean, it's just crazy.
It is, man. And this whole concept of the Freedom Pass is absolutely nightmarish.
Mm-hmm.
His suggestion follows recommendations by behavior experts advising Downing Street, who said those not infected with the virus should be handed paper wristbands to allow them to return to a more normal life. The Behavioral Insights team, also known as the, quote, nudge unit, also suggested...
Wristbands? Sorry. Yeah. So how much is this like the movie V for Vendetta? Did you ever get around to seeing it?
I did, but I stopped once he started torturing
that's right.
Natalie
You didn't
Portman.
like that part, yeah.
I just can't support the concept of paying it forward like that.
Well, I mean, it is a fictional
I know.
character.
I'm not going to support the movie by continuing to watch it.
I gotcha. Well, at least you saw the beginning portions, which, curfew, right? Because there's a scene in the movie where the girl's out past curfew and the guards or whatever they were called, the watchmen or whoever they confront her, and that's where V beats up the guards, the initial part of the movie. So they had a curfew, and it was all about a virus, right?
It was.
There's a crazy, fascist government.
I mean, people have been wondering
real.
for years which one of these dystopian nightmares was going to come to fruition. Was it going to be V for Vendetta? Was it going to be Brave New World? Was it going to be 1984? Actually, it's a combination of all of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you do have this in entertainment. You have the same movies releasing over and over and over.
Right.
Disney's remaking all of its movies, and they're not the only ones. Every television show you can think of.
They're
every
restarting
movie,
them, rebooting them.
They're just all getting restarted. You'll see the same movie that you saw 10 years ago, and you'll pay to watch it, and you'll be happy about it. You'll clap at the end. You'll be just like in Brave New World when people consume the same media, same movies week after week after week.
Yeah.
Didn't notice?
That's a great point.
Intelligence was sort of demonized in Brave New World, and we see that today where if you post a long response to something somewhere on the internet, the very first thing people say is, oh, that's too long, I didn't read it. They're proud of being too stupid to read a long statement. People hate reading books. All they want to do is watch YouTube and television.
You know, have you seen any of Vin Armati's posts recently?
I have not.
So listeners who are new to the show may not remember Vin. He was a host here on Free Talk Live when he lived here in New Hampshire. He ended up going back to California due to having another kid, but shortly, maybe about a year or two later, he ended up moving to Saipan and has been there for the majority of this year. Anyway, he's been posting regular. Well, I mean, he's always been a regular on Twitter, but recently he's been talking about something he calls the dim age as like the overarching kind of zeitgeist to describe what you're talking about here, this sort of dimness of people, that they're exactly what you're talking about. And it's really, he's had some really insightful posts that are in that same vein.
Well, I mean, it started in school, right, where it was uncool to be nerdy.
To be smart,
it was uncool to be smart. And people never grew out of that as they became adults. It just morphed into, oh, well, instead of saying it's uncool to be smart, it's uncool to post a long comment. It's uncool to post this long thing that no one's going to take the time to read because it's uncool to take the time to read that.
It's uncool to not do what you're told.
Be cool, stay in school, right?
Be cool, obey.
I would disagree.
They have T-shirts with the word obey on them, too.
Do they?
Yeah, haven't you seen that?
I have not.
Those have been marketed for years.
Who has T-shirts the same?
I don't know who makes them, but the word obey, just like you'd see in...
I'm sure there's also some with it like crossed out.
No, I haven't seen that.
I want to find some of those. Or design
I'm sure
them.
they exist, but yeah.
So you can look forward to going to your family for Thanksgiving in the United Kingdom if you have your proper papers in order and you can show to all of the people that you are certified by the government as being COVID-free. What a nightmare.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Bain Books at BainBooks.com.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A Wall Street milestone. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. Gaining nearly 455 points on Tuesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has closed above 30,000 for the first time in history.
That's a sacred number, 30,000. Nobody thought they'd ever see it. That's the 9th time since the beginning of 2020, and it's the 48th time that we've broken records during the Trump administration.
President Trump said the credit should go to his administration and to Americans in the midst of a pandemic. But coronavirus cases are still on the rise, now more than 259,000 in the U.S. since the outbreak started. The Centers for Disease Control Director, Dr. Robert Redfield, says even with positive coronavirus test results, there is no time to be complacent.
We're turning the corner now. You don't want to be the last group to end up getting COVID because the vaccine is going to begin to be rolled out probably by the end of the second week of December.
Dr. Redfield says the first vaccine distribution will come within 24 hours of FDA approval. The agency meets to consider vaccine test results 16 days from now. President-elect Joe Biden formally announcing several cabinet picks today, including a new position, Special Envoy for Climate. Like the other nominees, it's a familiar name.
The world will know that with one of my closest friends, John Kerry, he's speaking for America on one of the most pressing threats of our time. No one I trust more.
All 6 nominees named today served in some capacity in the Obama administration. With the federal government now recognizing the transition, the president-elect is being offered the same daily intelligence briefing as the president gets. The vote recounts continue in Georgia and in Wisconsin, where workers have found nearly 400 ballots that were never processed. Nevada and Pennsylvania have certified their election results. America is listening to Fox News.
Amazon 2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
Alexa. The Supreme Court has been asked to end church capacity limits in California imposed by the governor over virus fears.
The Harvest Rock Church filed this appeal, which is not the first, on whether the government can restrict First Amendment religious assembly rights. High Court Justice Elena Kagan will take the appeal to her associate justices. Harvest Rock has 4 campuses in Southern California. It falls within Harvest International Ministries, which has churches that are under Tier 1 of California restrictions prohibiting all indoor services. The churches filed the appeal on an emergency basis after attempts at the Ninth Circuit failed. A decision from Washington could come within days. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The maker of OxyContin has pleaded guilty in federal court to 3 criminal charges, taking responsibility for its role in the country's opioid epidemic. Purdue Pharma admitted paying doctors through a speakers program to get them to write more prescriptions for them.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A month after the death of leader Kim Jong-il, North Korea's 24.5 million citizens have returned to their regular daily routines this week, holding a festive, synchronized disco jump rope gala in Pyongyang's main public square. Life in the hermetic communist nation is reportedly beginning to normalize following the protracted mourning period, with citizens once again donning their brightly colored uniforms and performing intricate gymnastics routines in perfect unison.
It is an inspiring sight to see so many loyal citizens find the strength to unfurl their long silken streamers and do dozens of tandem backflips set to dance music.
Observers reported that new North Korean leader Kim Jong-un nodded once in approval of the disco jump rope gala, signaling an official transfer of power.
A recent study from the Centers for Disease Control finds that over 100 million children are being exposed to harmful levels of stupidity in their own homes. Hear the debate about secondhand ignorance on the next In the Know.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and you can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. So take control of the airwaves. Give us a call, 855-450-FREE, as in Freedom Pass, brought to you by the United Kingdom government. Even with the vaccine, which is their plan A, evidently their plan B is to allow people to walk around with a certificate proving that they are COVID-19 free so that they can live a somewhat normal life amidst circumstances that are not at all normal.
Well, remember, for those of you who are out there saying, oh, well, that's over in the UK. Well, now, wait a minute. Governments pay attention to one another.
They do.
They watch to see who will go first with some new tyrannical idea. And even if it's the UK, doesn't mean that it won't be California that's next. Like, oh, well, that worked over there. People are getting their freedom passes, and the government's getting some revenue because you're going to have to pay for the freedom pass, right? So, like, there's revenue opportunity there and an obedience opportunity. And maybe the cops will like the freedom pass because it gives them a chance to harass more people. Because, like, this whole COVID thing has been a strange bedfellows thing, right? Like, anytime there's some kind of political issue, they always say about strange bedfellows being involved, where one's, some disparate group over on the left is all of a sudden now aligned with a disparate group over on the right on this one issue, but normally they would hate each other on other issues or something.
I was deep in that realm a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't remember what you're referring to, but...
The sheriff campaign.
Oh, the sheriff's campaign. Gotcha. That, yeah. But in this case, you've got people who... for instance, would be normally critical of the police, like some of the libertarians, including myself, which all of a sudden now we're on the side of the police because
not including yourself.
Well, I mean, I agree with the police on the fact that people shouldn't have to wear masks if they don't want to. Now, the reason the police want that is probably so they can identify people. So I understand why some people... that was one of Mark's points originally, was now he can hide his face in public and it's normal.
You can easily identify someone just from their eyes and
if
brow.
You know the person,
sure.
You can. But if you don't know them, it makes it a little harder.
That's true.
It would make it harder for facial recognition softwares and things like that. So I think that's probably... I don't think most cops will be honest with you that that's their reason for wanting the mask mandates to not exist. But I suspect that at some level that's the reason for it. But nonetheless, some of us are on the same side on that issue.
That's true. I look forward to seeing what Thanksgiving brings. People are traveling, evidently, even though governments don't want them to. Some states are doing checkpoints and other nonsense like that. Now, I know that Belgium has said that their police will go knocking door to door.
Yeah, that's during the Christmas season.
Yeah, which is next. I mean, that's the next holiday after Thanksgiving.
Yep, they're already rolling out the plots.
I was hoping that this was going to cause the death of Black Friday, because I hate Black Friday passionately. And I hate how Christmas has completely overtaken Thanksgiving, and it was Black Friday that allowed it to happen. I really think that 50 years from now, Thanksgiving will no longer be a holiday. It will probably still be called Thanksgiving, but the whole mythology of it will be that we're eating this great feast so that we can go prepare for shopping the next day in the same way that ancient warriors used to feast before a battle, right? I think in 50 years, that's going to be the mythology. The holiday will be Black Friday, and Thanksgiving will just be the day we feast before that to prepare.
Well, but now their Black Friday in 2020 is now a month-long affair.
Yes. The goth kids are holding the line at Halloween. If we lose Halloween, Christmas takes over 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And I hate Christmas. I hate everything about it. It's inefficient. They say one of the things libertarians like saying is give people cash, because the utility of whatever, they have some expression they use for it, where the person receiving the gift should use the money to buy what they want because that maximizes its efficiency or whatever. It would be even more efficient for people to just buy themselves what they want.
Right. Instead of sending a bunch of money around everywhere.
Do that instead. I would have less issue with that. But the whole notion, and it creates an obligation where someone gets you something, so you have to get them something. It's so tedious.
It's very weird.
And it's pagan wrapped in Christianity, wrapped in paganism.
The Christians borrowed all the pagan iconography and dates and things like that.
Yeah, I hate the holiday passionately, so I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, hate only hurts the hater, Arya.
It doesn't really hurt me to hate
then you don't
the
hate.
holiday.
Then you're not hating.
I'm just not a fan of it, and I ignore it.
I'm with you.
So the extent of my Christmas celebration for the past 2 years was just doing Free Talk Live on the day that happened. That was it.
I think we've done a few of the gift exchange things where it's like the funny stuff. They call it different. They have different names
gag
for
gifts,
it.
Right.
Yeah. So in Florida, where I grew up, my family called it the white elephant, and then up here they call it. It's escaping me right now, but there's a totally different name they have for the exact same thing, where you bring usually a gag gift, some sort of silly thing that no one would actually really want. And then you pick put numbers in a hat, and then everybody reaches in, pulls a number out. The first person, so you put all the gifts on the table. Each person coming to the party brings a gift, and you put all the gifts on the table, and the first person gets to pick from all the gifts, right?
Okay.
But then they can't do anything with it right then because there's no one else to trade with. The second person goes, picks from the gifts, and then I think it's called Bad Santa in other places, but I could be wrong about that. Somebody else is screaming it in the chat room. I'm sure. I'm not looking at it. So then the second person goes and picks from the remaining gifts, and then the second person can choose to trade with the first person. So the first person's already opened the gift and sort of shown it to the group, so everybody knows what it is.
Right.
And so the second person opens their gift, and they can trade with that person or keep it. And then the third person and the fourth, and then so on. And so you finally get to the last person. And so the last person then gets the final gift, but then they can trade with everybody else that's already opened their gift. And then I think in most instances, it then goes back to the first person, and they get the final. So the last person and the first person are usually the best ones. Did you ever have that when you were growing up in the South?
I don't think my family ever did it, but I never liked going there anyway, so I try to block all of that out.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the fun one because then you're just buying screw-off gifts, and it's like nobody cares because you're expecting to get some sort of ridiculous or worthless or stupid thing, and then it's kind of like a game of who can stick who with the worst gifts. Basically, because always the worst stuff gets traded away, and so you think you've got something, and then somebody takes it from you. So that's kind of fun, right? So there's some fun variants, and then of course the office party where somebody gets way too drunk and makes a fool of themselves, and they're the talk of the office. I mean, it's got its ups, but yeah, I'm mostly in agreement with you that the holiday's full of ridiculous and silly traditions and should be jettisoned.
Well, I'm 100% in agreement with, these office parties and stuff like that. I just don't think they have to be tied to Christmas.
Yeah, sure.
Like me and my coworkers.
They're holiday parties.
Or, why even tie them to a holiday?
Sure.
Other than the fact that that's when all of your coworkers are actually off. Like, me and my coworkers are celebrating, I don't want to say celebrating Thanksgiving because that's not what we're doing, but we're gathering at my house and drinking heavily and watching stupid movies like Thanksgiving 3 and Killer Raccoons 2. Really stupid, horrible movies. And it's not because we're celebrating Thanksgiving, it's just that we're all off that day, so that's the day we can do it. I guess that provides some kind of benefit of giving people consistent, predictable days off together, people who otherwise one of them would be at work or all of them would be at work. So there's some benefit to that.
Yeah, there's some camaraderie there.
I'd rather people just celebrate life without being told this is the day on which we celebrate life.
So the other names for the game are, I was close. It's not Bad Santa. It's Dirty Santa. And then there's Yankee Swap, which is probably the lame Northeastern term for it.
I would imagine so. So hopefully people are actually planning to do something for Thanksgiving. I don't care whether or not they plan to do something for Christmas, but I'm sure they will. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Christmas, because if the powers that be are correct, all of this traveling is going to cause a huge spike in COVID-19 cases, right? And that's going to cause them to freak out, and they're going to start
crack down even further.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys had your Thanksgiving, but no more Christmas.
I don't think people will listen regarding Christmas. They're more likely to listen regarding Thanksgiving,
I think
than Christmas.
Maybe.
I mean, Christmas is such a big holiday. I mean, it has consumed 2 months out of the year already.
Yeah.
And it wants to take on a third. So it's a big deal to people. And I get why. You want to see your family, you want to see your friends, you want to get together and exchange gifts and be merry. And
it's normally a very happy season this time of year, and I think a lot of people are going to be feeling the pressure that they're going to want to feel happy, and they're not.
We'll see what happens. Thanksgiving is coming up in just a few days. Apparently people are traveling, and apparently the governments around the United States are imposing checkpoints, presumably to put a stop to it, but we're going to get into that. 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Early Bitcoin wallets cashing in. Is Satoshi back? Investment expert Dr. Doom calls Bitcoin a store of value. Bitcoin Cash forks. Everything's fine. Bitcoin price surges above 18,000 US dollars. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Free Bitcoin Cash when you download their wallet at bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. DIVI project.org.
July 25th, we adopted April. She's a purebred, orange and white Brittany. But when she started scratching like crazy, I said to John, it's got to be her food. What you put into a dog is what you get out. We heard this radio commercial, and this woman was so excited about Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I said to John, I'm getting this. So the Dinovite comes, and I thought, a light bulb moment. She loves her dog food. She always lays a little bit in her bowl. So we added a huge scoop of Dinovite in it, and then we swished it around like gravy. She dove into that bowl. She licked it clean. She loved it. So that's been the routine. April gets Dinovite for dessert. Her coat is now soft. It's silky. Dinovite is nutrition. She even walks like a little princess.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
On Dinovite, she's Little Miss Hollywood. DINOVITE.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. And again, you can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. 855-450-3733. We're really curious to know what your Thanksgiving plans are. Whether you're going to continue everything as normal or whether you're going to bunker down and stay home, stay safe, whatever the terminology that states are using to convince people to be afraid. But AnyPay 2.0 is here, and crypto payments are now faster than ever if you're using the Edge wallet, handcashbitcoin.com, or Dash wallet.
The business owner we talked to tonight, and we demoed this for him, he was impressed.
Yeah, it was lightning fast.
Yeah.
And my signal was kind of bad, because it always is right there on Main Street for whatever reason. Some wallets aren't ready for this impressive new technology, and it is impressive. And these wallet programmers need to hear from you, the wallet users. Visit anypayinc.com/upgrade to learn why some popular wallets are incompatible with AnyPay 2.0. And reach out to the wallet programmers and encourage them to help make payments perfect at anypayinc.com/upgrade. The most, what impressed me the most was when we found out the point of sale system that the business owner is using, and you suggested to the AnyPay people that they contact them, and they were already in contact with them, working with them. That was what impressed me. anypayinc.com. Hopefully the future of cryptocurrency payments. They also have a WordPress plugin.
Well, it's the now. It's the now of cryptocurrency payments.
I'm at replacing BitPay.
That'd be nice.
BitPay is okay. It does what it needs to do, but AnyPay is better. And it's just sleek, and it helps that I know the people who are behind AnyPay, but I don't know the people behind BitPay. Sorry. So if I have to pick between the two, I'm going to go with AnyPay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the phones. We've got Dave calling from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, folks.
Hey, Dave.
I had called you a few days ago about some of the Free Stater legislation that has been proposed, but I only told you about one or two things that were going on, and there are two more Free Stater bills that have come up on the radar that are kind of interesting.
Ooh, before you get into that, you just sparked my memory about something, and I'm sure you've heard this news, Dave, but our listeners probably have not. When I first heard about this, I said, or somebody said to me, it was actually John Bush who told me about this. He doesn't even live here in New Hampshire, and he got the word before I did. But he said Jason Osborne is now the House Majority Leader in New Hampshire. Now, for our listeners who don't know that name, Jason Osborne is the first angel sponsor we ever had here on Free Talk Live more than a decade ago. So it was Jason Osborne before Bitcoin.com, before Roger Ver.
Now, angel sponsor means that he donated money to the show, but he bought advertising but didn't expect any results, and he just continued to pay for it.
Yeah, so is somebody who really loves the ideas of freedom, who buys advertising on Free Talk Live, knowing that like a general audience talk show is not the best venue to advertise the thing they want to advertise. In his case, he does collections, so I don't think he ever got a client from advertising on Free Talk Live, but he kind of knew that going into it. So it's just a way to support the one radio show with a pro-liberty viewpoint. That guy. And so when I heard that he was now the House Majority Leader, which basically means he's like the second in command, from what I understand, of the State House of New Hampshire, right? Because you get the Speaker of the House, and then you have the House Majority Leader and the House Minority Leader, right? So the House Majority Leader is the leader of the Republicans, because the Republicans are now coming into power in New Hampshire after the Democrats had it for a few years. And so the House Minority Leader would be the Democrat, who's sort of the leader of the Democrats. So he's basically the second in command of. Not that there's a command. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to do what they say, but there's a lot of reason to listen to somebody in that position. So they've basically got a straight up anarchist, voluntarist, libertarian who's in that position here in New Hampshire.
Jason is also a former advertiser on the Ridley Report, and he was sort of an angel advertiser for me too. Yep. My ad was a Seiko CAI, Seiko CAI, and the motto was they collect with respect.
With respect, that's right. Yep. Longtime sponsors here on Free Talk Live. So we literally have a voluntarist, principled, well-read, well-spoken, intelligent, libertarian guy who is now in a highly influential position. So obviously he's been doing whatever it takes in the political scene, and I imagine that's not something fun to talk about, but he's pulled it off. It's incredible. And I wasn't going to say anything about it because, when I first heard the news, it was just in back channels like, wow, that's really awesome, but I'm not going to out him. I think people knew who he was anyway. It's not like it was a secret, but I didn't want to brag about it because I didn't know if he wanted that kind of attention. But then I saw the Free State Project posted on Twitter about it last night. So I'm like, oh, okay, well
now it's done now.
Yeah. Now everybody knows. So congratulations, Jason. Good job. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
So there is also another Free Stater who has gained a fair amount of power in the New Hampshire State House, is Carol McGuire. And she has proposed a bill, quote, prohibiting the state from using a face recognition system, unquote.
Awesome.
Okay.
So that is coming up. For vote this year. And
she has managed to work her way into she's been in for several terms now. I think she's like a 6-term at least. She's been in there reelected multiple times. She, last I saw her, had managed to become the head of a committee. So I forget which committee it was, but they got all these, so there's the state house and they all have these committees and subcommittees and such. So she was the head of the committee while the Republicans were in charge the last time. And now that the Republicans are back, I expect she's going to be in one of those seats as well.
I think you're going to see, it's going to be like 2011 and 2012, and there really was change during those 2 years. They cut the budget 11% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when the Free Staters had some influence and there was a Democrat governor. But now we have, the Republican, we have a clean sweep of Republicans who tend to be more pro-liberty in New Hampshire for real.
Except for the governor, who will in no way, shape, or form actually do anything to reduce his power. There may be some challenges to him this year as a result of him being a little tyrant. But is he going to sign a bill that actually takes away his ability to issue emergency orders? I don't think he's going to do that.
He's bad on certain issues, and COVID's one of the ones that really stands out where he's bad, and we're hurting now because of that. But overall, he actually hasn't, over the long haul, he hasn't been that bad.
No, he could have been a lot worse.
Sure.
But this year, he got a lot worse.
Yeah.
He did. Well, Dave, thank you so much for the call.
Oh, wasn't there a second bill? Did you already get him?
There is another one of interest, but I don't see any. I don't know if it's got much to do with Free Staters, but it is a Liberty bill. Is a constitutional amendment attempting, I guess it would be a resolution, CACR, constitutional amendment proposal to eliminate the possibility of a broad-based sales tax in New Hampshire.
Okay. I think that'll get voted in if that makes it onto the ballot.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of that one getting all the way through since we have such a...
So is there going to be a secession bill? Have you heard anything about that? Probably not, right?
I haven't been through the whole list yet.
Okay.
And again, you know my position. I'm in favor of such a bill if the taxpayers can be reimbursed for it being heard. That costs about $2,000, and I don't have the money, so I have not proposed the bill.
Well, you're
Dave,
not a state rep.
Thank you so much for the call. Yeah, I
You
would
don't
love
get to
see
propose bills.
I would love to see a secession bill. I don't have any requirements about.
You should talk to the
reimbursing
nightcap rep. Nightcap now has a state rep.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. You've got to get to New Hampshire. It's so wild, and things are actually happening here. Unlike in many other parts of the world, we are gradually, in some ways, getting freer.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, eat the grain. Third vet said, it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out. The Dynovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dynovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. And you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And it's Ian.
And Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. So if you want the freshest and newest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty, then freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com, freedomsphoenix.com. Now, we're talking about Thanksgiving plans here and how Americans are actually traveling. And
Hooray.
I'm sorry?
I said hooray.
My hope is that Americans are finally sick of this nonsense, or that Thanksgiving is when they're going to take their stand against these government restrictions that have been imposed on us. I don't know if that's how it's going to actually play out, but that's what I'm hoping for. Because if these people, if they're willing to take a stand at any point, it seems like Thanksgiving or Christmas is going to be the stand that they take. You know, the more I think about it, the more I see these millions of Americans traveling. Okay, we let you have the previous 10 months to do something about this. We didn't go visit our family, and now we're going to.
Well, I like what you're saying here, that people are traveling, and that's certainly a positive indicator, but I'm not going to read too much into it, given that we've had people reporting, for instance, in the chat room earlier tonight at matrix.lrn.fm, or rather chat.lrn.fm if you want the instructions on how to join, that one of our chatters, normally, quote, conservative family, has gone full-on mask fear. But they're still having Thanksgiving. So people are still coming to this location of his aunt's house or whatever, but it's going to be, quote, socially distanced and masks required. So how many people of those who are traveling are simply traveling but with all the restrictions, meaning that they're planning on going to one of these highly restricted Thanksgivings where they'll wave at their grandmother from the other side of the room, or they'll have one of those lame-o, what do they call them, COVID curtains, where it's a plastic sheet from a clothesline and people trying to hug each other.
You're being a real Debbie Downer, Ian.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is what we've been seeing all year long.
I hadn't thought about it, but you're exactly right. That's the kind of nonsense that they're traveling to, for sure.
There's a video that I put in show prep from one of these like hunting outlet stores that is up here. I think it's Bass Pro Shops. And it's all about how Santa Claus is now COVID safe. So,
oh God, what does that mean?
Like the mall Santa that you probably are used to seeing from growing up.
I mean, what did they do to make Santa COVID safe?
So this is the second story that I've seen like this. The first one was about a Santa like in a mall inside a big like an igloo, like a large plastic dome kind of thing that would surround his whole area with the chair and everything. And so he stands in there and the kid comes up to the outside of the plastic dome. And so now this one is a plexiglass sheet that sits in front of, a large plexiglass sheet in front of the Santa sitting in the chair. And so the kids and their parents stand on the outside of the plexiglass sheet, and the Santa sits in the background. And the video brags about how Santa's little elves come and sanitize the plastic sheet between every visit, and you have to schedule an appointment to make sure you can get in. You can't just show up and see Santa. You've got to schedule an appointment. And it's just on and on for, a minute about all the COVID safety regulations that they've put into place for the Santa Claus visit. So, I mean, it's just hard to believe that the majority of the people, even those who are traveling, are going to do this. There was actually another story that's related to this. I don't have it on my screen. I don't remember what the source was, but it was just sort of an overview of the Americans traveling sort of thing. And when you actually get into those stories, the quotes that they include, now again, they're not going to likely include the people whose attitude is, screw all this stuff, I just want to go, hug my grandma. The attitude of the people in the stories is like, I'm really scared about it, but I really want to go see my family, right? So they're like of two mindsets, right? So I don't know. That's why I want to hear from the listener.
Sure.
And maybe they don't even know yet. Maybe some people are going to show up on Thanksgiving and they're going to find out right then that they have to be putting a mask on.
I hope not. But let's go to the phones. We've got non-European calling from the American continent. Non-European, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind?
This is Aria, right? Is that your name?
Yeah.
The devil, whatever they call you, the devil.
She's
funny,
not
man.
the devil. She's just the high priestess of
that,
the
man.
Satanic Church, the Reformed Satanic Church.
I know that. How you doing, Ian?
What's on your mind, caller?
Now, I wanted to talk about. I saw the headline on your website about the book 1984. I read that book about a few years back because I was wondering why European colonials are always reading this book and talking about that book. But first, I want to throw you a little bit, but it's the truth though. I would like to hear. I would like to go on a radio station and talk and hear people talking about European global terrorism or modernly known as European, but it's really Nordic, Vikings. The Nordic tribes have spread around the planet, colonized and terrorized it. I want to hear about their terrorism globally, their terrorism that continue on the American continent because Europeans are not American. The United States is not America. America is a continent. It's just like Europeans going and colonizing and occupying a part of Asia, and they calling that part of Asia. The U.S. is not America. The U.S. is a colonial company, and Europeans are not American. Europeans are Europeans, U.S. citizens. Anyhow, I don't want to start controversy with the U.S. government and that.
Hold on. That's a bit of a mouthful there. I just trying to unpack what you just said. So you want us to comment about the Vikings and their conquests?
Well, it's larger than that. The white conquest of the world essentially never ended. I mean, it's still ongoing. It's just mostly economic today.
Is that what he's saying?
Did I mention the word white? Don't talk to me about color. Those are statuses.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump to a conclusion. That's why I was
bloodline.
I didn't want to jump to a conclusion.
That status under the U.S. Don't talk to me. I'm not a colored person. I know what that means. Okay, that I'm white.
I was just using shorthand. But you're correct.
Okay,
it would have been more accurate for me to describe it as a European conquest.
Okay, no, I'm just like I would like to hear a show where they talking about everyday European terrorism on the planet.
Well, we do talk about terrorism on the planet, specifically terrorism by the people calling themselves governments. No, we don't talk about non-Europeans. We talk about anyone calling themselves the government. Now, those people are both European and they are non-European and they are Asian and they are whatever you want to fill in the blank. These are the terrorists. These are the people.
Yeah, historically, I would agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because historically, evil doesn't come from a person's pedigree or bloodline. But right now, the terrorists on the planet, the true terrorists that are always pumping propaganda are Europeans. And actually, non-Europeans help them because corruption comes on all levels. But the main terrorists on the planet for centuries now have been the Northern
I don't think
tribes.
that you can say that that's true in a place like China.
I don't care about China.
Well, you were talking about the planet. You were talking about the planet.
They not here because Europeans always take the focus of them and put them on somebody else. Oh no, it's the Arabs. How many Europeans did the Arabs kill in the last 20 years? How many Arabs are Europeans?
How many Arabs did the Chinese kill last year? What about the Russians? I mean,
I don't care. The Chinese didn't kill my people.
I'm giving you examples that are contrary to what you're saying, and you just say, I don't care.
How many Asians have you, Ian, answer this. How many Asians have Europeans killed in the last century? And
I don't keep track of the color of all the murderers in the world.
Hold on. How many Europeans have Asians killed in the last century? Numbers.
I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, but I will say that, the last century was marked pretty heavily by war, and pretty much everyone of every nationality was killing other people of other nationalities.
Just
Asians
stop the
absolutely
killing.
were killing Europeans during World War II. I mean, it has happened. We do stand against it, and it's all ultimately the fault of governments. 855-450-3733.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance.
Stock market have you nervous with all the massive fluctuations? With the hope for a COVID vaccine on the rise, shifting political landscape, and the election at an end, it's virtually impossible to guess what will happen next. With Vantage Point, you don't have to. Text MONEY to 411-411 to find out how our technology can forecast market trends up to 3 days in advance with incredible accuracy. Text MONEY to 411-411 to get what you need to stay ahead of market trends and find explosive moves before they happen. Vantage Point's patented technology analyzes huge quantities of global data in seconds. Stop guessing. Start predicting trends 72 hours in advance. Text MONEY to 411-411 and experience Vantage Point for free. Text MONEY to 411-411 so you can protect and grow your capital now. Don't wait. Text MONEY to 411-411.
Go to VantagePointSoftware.com for terms, conditions, and privacy policy.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and you can take control of the airwaves, talk about whatever is on your mind by calling 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria and Ian, and you've heard us talking about Divi on Free Talk Live, and maybe you want to set up one of their easy-to-deploy masternodes or stake Divi so that you can start earning Divi right now. Ian has actually set up a Divi masternode, says it was super easy and that staking was even easier. We're not investment advisors here on FTL, but we think you'll be impressed with your earning potential with Divi as compared to traditional investment vehicles. Go to diviproject.org and get started. You can buy Divi at several exchanges or directly from the Divi team. Need help? There is a link to their Telegram channel right on the front page at diviproject.org, diviproject.org. Americans are traveling, it seems, and before Captain Buzzkill over here came in with his rude awakening about what's actually going on, I was pretty excited to think about Americans going, "Oh, we're sick of this. We're not doing it anymore." But yeah,
I want you to be right. I just don't believe it.
I know I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just don't believe it.
I don't either anymore. And I did. It was a nice hour and a half that I did believe that, though. So I do have that fond hour and a half to look back on. So checkpoints are coming, it would seem. Or checkpoints have
already be here.
Happened in some places. I know that Vermont is planning to use checkpoints for people traveling.
Yeah, are they? I had not heard about that from Vermont.
I had heard that they were. But I don't know. I mean, I hear this kind of stuff from people who think that Biden is planning to impose a 6 to 8 week lockdown. So who knows which of these things are actually true and which ones are something they saw somewhere on Facebook and that they believed to be true. I mean, one of Biden's advisors did say that a 6 to 8 week lockdown would be a good idea, but that's a far cry from Biden having the constitutional authority to do that. And as far as I know, he's aware that he doesn't have any authority whatsoever to do that. He's not trying to impose a national mandate, after all, for masks. He wants the governors of each state to do it. So he does at least have some level of knowledge regarding what he can and can't do. And a 6 to 8 week national lockdown is not within the cards.
For now. We'll see. I think you're right about that. I think that ultimately the states are going to have to do all the crackdowns, and he's going to try to incentivize. In fact, rumor has it that he may have told the governor of New Hampshire that New Hampshire would be cut off from federal funding if it didn't move forward with a mask mandate. So they may be able to use this,
that would explain why we suddenly had a mandate.
Yeah, and also might explain why there's all these outs that are written in the mandate as well, because, Sununu isn't the worst governor, so it's not the worst mask mandate.
I
but
have to look into the mandate to see what these outs are all about. I know it says shall, and
there's just straight up exemptions for a lot of people.
Well, I meant the mask mandate itself says shall, and legally shall is legally understood to be a suggestion and not a command.
I've never heard that about shall. I know some people were saying that in a chat room recently, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, I haven't looked into it. Yeah. I'm going off the same thing you saw, presumably.
So do you want to know a little bit about these checkpoints?
I do want to know about these checkpoints.
Bloomberg.com reporting that New York City will have vehicle checkpoints at key bridges and crossings and will strictly enforce the travel quarantine, according to the sheriff, Joseph Fucito. He said the office will conduct spot checks when out-of-state buses drop riders off at the curb.
What state is this?
This is New York City, not the state.
Okay.
The sheriff's office will conduct spot checks. They will have test and tracing teams on the ground to direct individuals to testing sites and provide education on quarantine, he said. Education is another way of saying do this or else we're going to hurt you. The 14-day quarantine mandates that travelers quarantine or test out of the quarantine. Violations of self-quarantine will be enforced, and many carry fines of $1,000 to $2,000.
Then it's not self-quarantine, is it?
Well, no, what they mean by that is you have to quarantine yourself on your own dime. They will not quarantine you by default, meaning that you can't check into the government quarantine. There's not a government quarantine facility with the exception of the jail.
You're free to choose to quarantine.
Correct. you can choose where you quarantine, basically. Do you want to quarantine at the Four Seasons motel or hotel, or do you want to quarantine at your grandmother's house? Or, you can quarantine in different locations, apparently, for now. The city will enforce the completion of traveler forms at airports, Penn Station, and the Port Authority bus terminal. There will be a self-testing site, and that will be available on those locations or at those locations. So
I get that people think I get that the majority of people think that COVID-19 is really serious and we need to take steps to, safeguard our lives against it, stuff like that. But when the American government begins taking playbooks out of literal Nazi Germany, it's time to stop supporting the government.
Oh, it's not Nazi when we do it.
Oh, it's fully Nazi when the American government does it. I mean,
then it's American.
This is straight up an idea that the Nazis implemented.
Sure, of course. And it wasn't just the Nazis. Every totalitarian state ever has done this.
And they also used the excuse of trying to rid society of a negative element.
Sure.
The only difference is
Jews.
that you believe that this
According
element
to them.
is negative.
I have nothing against Jews. In fact, I think they're heroic. The Hasidic Jews.
They have been awesome in
New York City specifically. Yeah, I mean, it was a couple days ago we had a story about how they had a gathering of thousands of them who went into all the same room to have, I think it was a wedding, I believe.
It was a wedding?
Yeah.
And it was a rabbi's son getting married.
It was organized secretly.
And that's amazing.
That was amazing.
Getting thousands of people secretly organizing something.
I wish we could we had that level of secrecy here in this movement.
I do too.
Yeah.
But we don't.
Nope.
So what else is going on in the world?
I mean, that's basically the story about the quarantine,
so they're
the
going to be
crackdowns.
Cracking down on people who are traveling. Belgium, it seems, is going to be going door to door, at least during Christmas. Belgian police will knock on doors at Christmas to enforce coronavirus rules.
Now, I don't know what the rules are in Belgium, but here in the United States, and I'm not an attorney, so this isn't legal advice. You may want to check your local statutes and check with local attorneys and activists. But from my understanding in the United States, if the cops knock on your door, you are under no obligation whatsoever to answer the door. So if it's Thanksgiving and you're having a normal Thanksgiving, like old normal from 2019, and you don't want the police to know about it, make sure the blinds are closed and make sure you don't answer the door. If the cops come knocking on the door, just don't answer it. There's no benefit to even having a conversation with these people.
Why close the blinds?
So they can't see in.
What does it matter if they see in?
You don't want them seeing evidence something illegal might be going on. And by that, I mean people sitting around a Thanksgiving table with one another eating
turkey. See, my
turkey.
brain can't reconcile the idea of that being illegal.
I understand, but that's where we are now.
So it's like close your
Karaoke's
blinds
illegal.
so the cops don't see the big
bong on the table. Yeah.
Okay.
The karaoke's
but instead
illegal.
now we're hiding a Thanksgiving turkey and graham.
That's it. I mean, it's funny because it's true. Right, like all the jokes about have you seen the "come and get it" meme where they?
Oh yeah, about the turkey.
It's got the turkey on it instead of the cannon.
Yeah,
it's funny because it's true.
But yeah, never, ever speak to police.
It doesn't benefit you.
It will never benefit you to speak with police.
Generally, it does not benefit you. I mean, if you've called them and you're reporting a crime, well, okay, you probably have to tell them a thing or two, but otherwise you got to keep in mind, the more you talk to a cop, the closer you are to getting arrested for something.
Yep.
And or having your Thanksgiving dinner raided by the police. If you don't think it's going to happen,
I hope it doesn't happen. The good part of me hopes that it doesn't happen.
They've been raiding parties, so why wouldn't they raid your Thanksgiving party?
Yeah, the troll in me cannot wait to see the stories about the cops raiding people's houses and confiscating their Thanksgiving turkeys.
If that happens and you're there, pull out your video camera and get it on video. Put these thugs on the record. Don't let them steal that turkey in darkness, under the cover of darkness.
I can't believe this is a real conversation we're having.
That's a real conversation, and we're actually having it because this is a real threat. They really are threatening people over holiday gatherings. That's actually what's going on. Now, if you're living out in the rural areas, you're probably going to be fine because most of the sheriffs in those areas, they're not as terrible as some of the city sheriffs in a lot of ways, and some of them have actually come out and said, hey, look, we're not going to enforce this stuff. So there are some sheriffs who have made statements like that, and that's why you got the governor of California going on the record. Or no, I'm sorry, it was the governor of New York again.
It was Cuomo.
Cuomo
saying sheriffs should be able to pick and choose which laws they enforce. But yes,
and then calling the sheriffs dictators. He called the sheriffs who are refusing to enforce his prohibitions on Thanksgiving and other holidays dictators. That's how backwards and doublespeak and crazy all this is. That's Freedom Pass level doublespeak.
It is. And it's such a shame I didn't become sheriff because I wouldn't enforce any of this nonsense. And if you think Cuomo's mad, it could have been glorious. I would urge all the sheriffs out there to just stop enforcing the law. No one can make you enforce the law. You're the sheriff.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have two cats, Sweet Pea and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them, to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com.
I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cat to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life. You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
No Thanksgiving for L.A. restaurants. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. Dining indoors or out banned starting tomorrow night.
Business owners in Los Angeles County are bracing for financial impact after the California Restaurant Association lost a court battle today to bar the shutdown.
So it's just been devastating. Now that we're going to close the outside, we're going to have to tell 11 of our employees, go home. And how are they going to pay their bills?
The mayor of Los Angeles has just tweeted that officials there are asking everyone to cancel non-essential travel.
Fox's Laura Engel reports the L.A. County Board of Supervisors also refused to reconsider the restaurant ban, and the county health department is mulling a stay-at-home order. In Canada, the province of Alberta has declared a health emergency and banned all indoor social gatherings. Virus cases still surging. Dr. Robert Redfield of the Centers for Disease Control.
Now we really have a large portion of the nation now that has transmission at the level of what we call the red zone. And we're of the point of view from the data that we have is that the real driver now of this epidemic now is not the public square. It really is driven by the silent epidemic, the asymptomatic infections, largely in individuals between the ages, say, 12 and 35.
While Dr. Redfield says vaccine approval could come in just over 2 weeks from now, it will be next spring before most Americans have access to it. A day after the General Services Administration ascertained Joe Biden as the likely election winner, formal transition work is already underway.
There's a lot of immediate discussion, and I must say, the outreach has been sincere. It's not been begrudging so far.
The president-elect says arrangements are being made to give him a daily intelligence briefing. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average, with numbers never reached before, closing Tuesday above 30,000.
On January 15th, the Dow closed above 29,000 for the first time. It then flirted with 30,000 the next month, but with the nation being hammered by the coronavirus in March, it fell. And it fell below 19,000. Since then, helped by low interest rates, it's been a long climb back. And the positive vaccine news from Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca has helped with this most recent stage of the rally coming after the presidential election earlier this month. And then when word leaked yesterday that former Fed Chair Janet Yellen would be President-elect Joe Biden's pick as the Treasury Secretary, more buying. And then when the Trump administration did clear the way for a Biden transition to officially begin last night, some investors saw that today as more uncertainty being removed. The market climbed even higher.
Connell McShane of the Fox Business Network, a South Carolina man, has pleaded guilty to terror charges in Texas for plotting to bomb or shoot up the White House and Trump Tower on behalf of the Islamic State.
Last month, the FDA approved Hallucex, a new class of weight loss drug that helps users avoid overeating by producing nightmarish hallucinations whenever food is around. Hallucex targets the brain's cerebral cortex, stimulating the centers responsible for fear and visual processing. Test subjects reported an unprecedented decrease in appetite and showed dramatic weight loss, with only 18% reporting night terrors or subsequent cardiac arrest.
It's designed to make fatty and sugary foods even scarier. An apple just looks like it has fangs, but a milkshake will threaten you and your family by name.
Earlier incarnations of the drug proved to be too powerful and produced mental states in which test subjects no longer believed that food had ever existed. An unshakable belief that the subject had to eat all of the food on the planet in order to prevent food from rising up and destroying the human race.
No, you don't understand. I have to do this.
Or the conviction that food could be negotiated with diplomatically. With the Lab Report, I'm Aisha Patel.
This is the Onion News Network.
Shortly after accidentally clicking like on nearly 400 of his ex-girlfriend's Facebook photos earlier today, panicked area man Adam Nuensing spoke to Onion reporters about his mistake.
Damn it, I was just looking at one of Rebecca's Instagram photos that showed up on my newsfeed, and the next thing I know, I just liked every single photo that she posted over the last 4 years. I didn't mean to, but it just kind of happened.
The 28-year-old told reporters that he had browsed through 14 of his ex-girlfriend's photo albums while inadvertently clicking like on each and every picture, including dozens from her office picnic last fall, her trip to New York in 2010, and a photo of her and her first boyfriend from 2006.
I thought if I went back and clicked unlike on all those pictures that maybe she wouldn't get any notifications. But then I saw some other albums and I ended up liking 80 more photos and shared them on my wall. Shit.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. 855-450-3733 is the toll-free number, and we want to know what is going on with your Thanksgiving. Are you having a normal Thanksgiving? Are you social distancing? Are you wearing masks? Are you staying at home? Or, God forbid, are you having a family Zoom meeting while you all eat your sliced turkey sandwiches or whatever?
Wouldn't that be sad?
I imagine some people are doing that.
I bet you're right.
855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria.
It's Ian.
And the CDC has suggested that people avoid 2/3 of my lifestyle, it would seem, suggesting that Americans ditch singing, loud music, and alcohol.
I heard about
for the
this.
holidays due to the pandemic.
Yeah, I heard that they were telling people, no more caroling. That's unsafe.
Well, if you're going to a holiday gathering and want to limit your chance of contracting the novel coronavirus, you might have to give up caroling, loud music, and alcohol, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I'm curious why alcohol got brought into the mix here.
I don't know. Maybe they'll explain it.
And
Maybe, because somebody who's drunk is less likely to follow social distancing guidelines?
I certainly am less likely to when drunk.
Mm-hmm.
In a holiday-focused health and safety guideline published by the agency on Wednesday, the CDC offered detailed considerations people should take if they are hosting or attending a gathering or plan to stay or host guests overnight.
How many people actually read these things? Like, besides the media that reports on it, How many people actually sit down and say, oh, I see the CDC has released some guidelines about how we should behave at Christmas and Thanksgiving. Well, I'm just going to sit down and read all 18 pages or however long it is. I'm sure it's some, if it's from the government, it's excessively lengthy and all its detail.
It is excessively lengthy, but the parts of it that we are going to focus on are not too bad.
But how many people actually read this stuff?
Probably none, man.
I don't know.
I'm going to read it, and our audience is going to hear it, but they're not the average people.
Right. I suspect most people just hear, the rumor mill and they hear the news media reports about this stuff.
So here are some of their suggestions. Check the COVID-19 infection rates in areas where attendees live on state, local, territorial, or tribal health department websites. Based on the current status of the pandemic, consider if it's safe to hold or attend the gathering on the proposed date. So, no, Johnny, you can't come because you're flying from New York City, which has a higher infection rate than your sister who can come because the infection rate in her city is lower.
Was that what it was saying? Check the infection rates of the potential attendees?
Yes.
So this is for the organizer of the Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay.
Limit the number of attendees as
rather than just asking your family member, hey, are you sick? Contacting
well, your family member probably isn't going to show up if they're sick anyway.
Well, you would think.
Limit the number of attendees as much as possible to allow people from different households to remain at least 6 feet apart at all times. Guests should avoid direct contact, including handshakes and hugs with others not from their household. No hugging.
Nope. You can just wave at grandma. Hey.
Host outdoor rather than indoor gatherings as much as possible.
Sure, it's freezing cold in a lot of places. But
and it'll probably be snowing because this is New Hampshire. Of course, this is to all of the United States.
I heard it might be warming up this weekend.
It has not snowed very much this year.
Well, it's still early. Usually you don't get any significant snow until mid to late December.
Really? Yeah. I'm just comparing it on to my first year here.
There's been plenty of non-white Christmases around here.
Okay. Well, my first year here, I was digging a freaking fuel pump out of my car in like 18 inches of snow. So that's my baseline standard of what to expect from New Hampshire winters.
I've been through 14 of them.
Wow.
13 of them.
I'll be there in 12 more years.
Right.
Host outdoor rather than indoor. We talked about that. Even outdoors require guests to wear masks when not eating or drinking. Now, this is on top of being socially distanced. Mm-hmm. The whole crap with the mask.
What's that, Grandpa?
The whole crap behind the mask, and people keep forgetting this, is that the masks are really only needed, even according to their own standards, if you can't socially distance.
Not in Massachusetts anymore. As of 2 or 3 weeks ago, they made it so it's mandatory masks everywhere you go, even if you're outdoors and more than 6 feet away from people. It's mandatory masks everywhere.
What happened to this crap being based by science? The science does not support that.
Well, I guess they had some scientists say differently.
Increase ventilation by opening windows and doors to the extent that it is safe and feasible based on the weather, or by placing central air and heating on continuous circulation. Avoid household gatherings in crowded, poorly ventilated spaces with persons who are not in your household. Require guests to wear masks. At gatherings that include persons of different households, everyone should always wear a mask that covers both the mouth and nose, except when eating or drinking. It is also important to stay at least 6 feet away from people who are not in your household. Encourage guests to avoid singing or shouting, especially indoors. Well, that's conflicted by making them wear a mask. If they have to wear a mask, they have to shout to be heard. Keep music levels down so people don't have to shout or speak loudly to be heard.
That's why. Okay.
Zero chance of that happening at my house. Yeah. Encourage attendees to wash their hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not readily available, use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Now, I will get on board with encouraging people to wash their hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds.
But it doesn't have to be often.
No, I would say often is stupid. Like after you go to the bathroom or before you eat, sure.
Yeah, well, that's like normal hygiene, right?
Yes, but most people don't do it. A scary number of people don't do it.
Okay, well, this isn't going to change it.
No, it's not. Provide guests information about any COVID-19 safety guidelines and steps that will be in place at the gathering. to prevent the spread of the virus. So
here's your little list of things you've got to do.
Write up your own COVID-19 safety guidelines.
Right.
And distribute them to the attendees.
Make sure you check all the boxes. If you don't, you hate your grandma.
Use one Lysol wipe on the toilet handle every time. I just can't imagine.
That's what they want in California. The rules there say that if you have to be outdoors, all the same crap that you were talking about, and that the bathroom has to be sanitized after every use.
It says here, clean and disinfect commonly touched surfaces and any shared items.
Right.
Use touchless garbage cans. If available, use gloves when removing garbage bags or handling. Should you sanitize your trash first?
Right. I forget who it was that was saying this, that, basically they were talking to their family and pointing out that if people are touching their mask, then it's all basically for show, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely the case.
All of them do. So all of this is such BS, and it's such fear-mongering, and
the owner of the restaurant that we ate at tonight, he was wearing a mask.
Even though he didn't want to.
Right, but the city will come down on him, so I understand his reluctance.
I get it.
He didn't say anything to us about it, but he adjusted or touched his mask at least 20 times in the amount of time he was standing there. That completely defeats the purpose if you don't immediately wash your hands afterward. Yeah. Here's the most horrifying thing as far as I'm concerned. Treat pets as you would other human family members.
Keep them away.
Do not let pets interact with people outside the household.
So sad. It's so sad. You can't, sorry, Billy, you can't pet that little doggy over there. Oh, yeah, I know it's your favorite little whatever Fido's. You love seeing Fido this time of year, but, we can't risk anybody getting the COVID that you don't have.
I don't know if that's really the worst or not, because it continues, and it does actually get worse. But being an animal lover, I would say that's probably the most jarring one.
It's bad for the humans, and it's bad for the animal as well. Especially
my cats want to be left alone, but dogs don't.
Right, especially a dog. They want attention, and now, sorry, you've got to keep the dog tied up, because if you don't keep the dog tied up, it's going to go everywhere.
Or you got to lock it in a bedroom,
or lock it in a room.
Something equally awful.
Right. Either way, it's not able to do the thing that it naturally wants to do. And every kid, of course, unless they're afraid of dogs, which is, it happens on occasion, but most kids want to play with a dog. Nope, can't do that. When the kids want to play with the other kids, nope, can't do that either. So it's like, this is the worst Thanksgiving ever.
It is. And you should encourage guests to bring food and drinks for themselves and for members of their own household.
So no
only.
sharing. No sharing food?
Avoid potluck-style gatherings.
Why go? Why go?
Cook your own Thanksgiving.
You don't actually want to see these people. You want to eat their food.
This is Free Talk Live.
She's a purebred, orange and white, Brittany. But when we adopted April, she started scratching like crazy. I said, what you put into a dog is what you get out. DINOVITE.com. So we added a huge scoop of Dynovite in her bowl. She licked it clean. She loved it. Her coat is now soft. It's silky. Dynovite is nutrition.
You get some Dynovite, how happy your dog will be.
On Dynovite, she's Little Miss Hollywood. DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret Shaving Oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secrets, the best shave ever.
Having taken her
phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now, here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now, they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria and Ian. And summer of 2021 is a long way off, but no social distancing and masks will probably be required at Forkfest 2021 if Rogers Campground requires masks.
They didn't this year.
They did not.
The owner was like,
but summer of 2021 is a very long way away.
Yeah, but it was pretty intense, the crackdown during the summer of this year. And the owner of, Crosby, the owner at Rogers Campground, his attitude was, F them, I'll do this how I want to do it. And they had like a plexiglass thing in the office or whatever. But beyond that, there really wasn't much else that changed. And his attitude was he was willing to fight if the government wanted to bring him trouble.
Awesome.
And that's what it takes. It takes business owners and customers who are willing to stand up for that business owner, because they can't do it alone. He knew that with us there, he was protected, because he knows what has happened in the past when government goons have come to his property during events like Forkfest and the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
Sure. We'll absolutely have his back. You should come up and have his back with us. It's June the 28th through July the 4th for Forkfest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Crosby is awesome. Rogers Campground is awesome. Forkfest is awesome. It's just the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, but Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge and there's no ticket cost. Again, June the 28th through July the 4th, the best place to celebrate Independence Day. It's going to be amazing fireworks. Check it out, forkfest.party, June the 28th through July the 4th, forkfest.party. Now, we're talking about the CDC's asinine guidelines for having a Thanksgiving dinner. Now, obviously, they don't want you to have a Thanksgiving dinner in the first place.
But that's what they're saying. But if you must, then there's all these rules. And I know you said it gets worse.
It does get worse.
I want to interject with some of the examples. Remember I was telling you earlier about the news media and their writings about people going and visiting their family and what they're saying, what are the quotes from some of these people.
How afraid they are?
Yeah, okay. So I want to give you some of these examples here. So this is from Reuters, and it's in their article, just sort of their overview about the holiday travelers going. Hannah Osnan, 18, California State University Long Beach student, waiting in line for a COVID-19 diagnostic test at a Los Angeles International Airport where she hoped to board a 22-hour flight to see her family in Egypt for the first time in a year. She said, "I'm really scared, but seeing family is important to me." Brian McDonough, 47, a construction worker and diligent mask wearer who plans to spend Thanksgiving with his sister not far from his home in Worth, Illinois, says, quote, "We're not going to let COVID scare us." But then he further says, "We tested, we're negative, so life goes on." So he's not scared of COVID, he says, but yet they got tested.
So he's scared of COVID.
I don't know if I believe him. And he goes on with this sort of the standard kind of tough talk, conservative tough talk of Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving, Christmas is Christmas, New Year's is New Year's. If people die, it's going to happen, and there's nothing we can do about it till we get a vaccine. Okay, so that's one of the more reasonable statements you're going to hear. But then again, he did test, and he was scared enough to test.
It's somewhat reasonable.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not going away even with the vaccine.
Right, and then he's like acting like he's going to get a vaccine. So by no means is he great. Edie Taylor, 29, a building design specialist in Oakland, California.
Oh, God.
Was less sanguine as she prepared to board a flight to her hometown of Birmingham, Alabama, to attend a family gathering and then stay on through New Year's. She said, "It's terrifying. But I didn't have anywhere to live. I just have to get on that plane," because apparently she gave up her apartment in Oakland. So she's like, I guess, moving there till further notice or something like that.
Yeah,
and
who doesn't want to move back to Birmingham, Alabama?
Terrified to do this. Donal Hope of Petersburg, West Virginia, is planning to make fresh cranberries, mashed potatoes, and her famous corn pudding for Thanksgiving, which she'll spend with her visiting daughter, and a neighbor. Hope said they would try to social distance in her home, and she planned to have rubber gloves and hand sanitizer on hand. She acknowledged her guests might take off their masks in the home. She said, quote, "I'm trying very hard to comply with the regs because I want this country to get back to where it belongs." Well, lady.
Does it belong in masks?
I got news for you. You're not going to get back to where it belongs by doing all the things the government tells you.
No, that's how we never
That's right.
get back to where it belongs.
That's the problem. So that's what there's your Reuters piece with a little taste of what people are saying.
Well, before we get back into the CDC asinine guidelines, let's go to the phones. We've got Jen calling from Nevada. Jen, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello.
Are you with us?
Oh, hey there.
Hi.
Hey, I just wanted to talk about what our governor just put in as of tonight, midnight. And he did this very quickly after, and I'm in Las Vegas, so a lot of restaurants bought like all this food, like, you know, for tables that were coming. So he put this in like very quickly after they probably purchased all this food that's going to go to waste. But he now limited all indoor dining to 25%.
Ooh.
Now, I couldn't really tell you what it was before, but it was more than that because I haven't been out to dinner at all. But he also said he limited to 10 people or fewer and no more than 2 households indoors and outdoors for Thanksgiving. And that now, and
so he mandated
this.
This.
Exactly what.
So you can't have your son's family and your daughter's family.
Not if it's more than 10 people.
No, they're from
it's
two
more than
different
one family.
households.
Ah, right.
I don't know how they're going to enforce this. I was just curious. I don't know if I felt
they're
like
going to
calling
rely
the
on
cops
snitches.
and saying, would you come
That's
to
how.
my house and are you going to come and check my house or something?
They
But
might. If somebody
also,
snitches, that's why I said keep your blinds closed.
Well, they'll know by the cards.
I want to actually see if the cops are going to enforce this because I just can't believe they're going to. But one thing he did put in, which we haven't had, is he now said, he calls it a statewide pause. It's for a 3-week statewide pause. He says now we have to wear masks outside when we're jogging and riding my bike. And like I'm a big jogger.
In Las
I
Vegas.
play pickleball every night. I'd like to see if they're really going to like chase me down while I'm jogging because I haven't worn a mask. I don't, and nobody really bothers me. There's only like 1 or 2 stores that like really bug me that I need to go into, but other than that, I don't wear a mask. But
insane.
When you guys were saying like, I don't think people are going to fight anymore because the vaccine's coming out, and they're all just going to say, "Hey, we're getting a vaccine in 2 months, so we're not going to fight these face masks anymore."
What do you think they're going to do after they get the vaccine, and then the government goons keep telling them they have to wear the face masks?
Well, I know. I hope the hell not, because I'm not getting a vaccine either. But in fact.
But what do you think they're going to do? I know what you're saying you're not going to do. I'm not going to get the vaccine myself. Ari is not either. But what do you think the people who are, like you said, wearing the masks in the expectation that it's all going to go back to normal, when, as we know, they've already said at the national level that they're going to keep telling people to wear masks after the vaccine. So what are people going to do then?
I know they do, but that's funny because I listen to a lot of talk radio in the car, and they act like that's not true. So I don't think people believe that. So unfortunately, they're giving up their freedom.
Yes, and they're not going to get them back.
And here's the funny thing. Me and my husband are actually, I don't want to get on a plane because of the mask stuff.
Yeah.
But we need to see his older parents for
Jen,
one
I'm sorry.
time.
So sad.
I'm gonna
It's
have
so
to.
sad.
I'm gonna have to cut you off, Jen. Thank you so much for the call. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see these people's rude awakening when they're still told after getting vaccinated that they have to socially distance and wear a mask, because that is coming.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Early Bitcoin wallets cashing in. Is Satoshi back? Investment expert Dr. Doom calls Bitcoin a store of value. Bitcoin Cash forks. Everything's fine. Bitcoin price surges above 18,000 US dollars. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Free Bitcoin Cash when you download their wallet at bitcoin.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can take control of the airwaves, talk about whatever is on your mind. 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE, as in free to do as I want, which is what I intend to do on Thanksgiving. With you tonight, it's Aria.
And it's Ian.
And I want to say thank you to Mal Esclavo, who is tonight's amplifier. Now, Mal is a gold level amplifier, which means that they're contributing $10 per month to the amp program. Of course, we don't ask that. All we ask is $5 per month. It's the best way, if you like the show, to help us reach a larger audience, to get on more radio stations to promote the show. Hence its name, AMP, Advertise, Market, and Promote. Free Talk Live to a wider audience. amp.freetalklive.com. It comes with a number of cool little perks, like an AMP-only Facebook group, an AMP-only room, I think, on the Matrix server, and even an AMP-only call-in line. Check it out, amp.freetalklive.com. Mal, thank you so much for your support. We hope you continue supporting the show. So we're going over the CDC's recommended guidelines for people who just have to actually exist as a human being within the parameters of the quarantines that they have set up, or the restrictions, lockdowns, whatever we want to call them.
You cannot exist as a human being within those parameters.
No, the first of the most ridiculous encourages guests to bring food and drinks for themselves and for members of their own household only, to avoid any potluck-style gatherings.
You might as well just have it on Zoom at that point, because they've already said you can't get near the other people, you can't pet their dogs. You can't have, you can't have any kind of interactions beyond, closer than 6 feet or whatever with these people. They're saying have it outside, sanitize this, sanitize that, and now they're saying you can't even share a potluck dinner. I mean, that's the whole point behind Thanksgiving. Is one, to see the family members, some of whom you really don't want to see, but two, to enjoy their cooking. Right? Grandma makes her famous green beans or casserole, or uncle makes the stuffing or whatever. Everybody's got the thing that they do, and they do it well because they've spent their whole lives perfecting this, or they used grandma's recipe and she passed away or whatever, right? That's the whole point, is to enjoy all those different dishes. And now they're just saying, oh, you got to bring your own food? Well, how the hell is that going to even work? I mean, you can't make an entire dinner of different items and bring all of that. You can't do that. Well, that's ridiculous.
You can, but it's a several day process. I mean, that was the way Will did it back when he did the Thanksgiving here in Keene. Mm-hmm. He cooked almost all of the items. I think some people brought
some
desserts
items
and stuff.
No, people brought items to those. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, he did the turkey, and I think they did one or two other things, but there were people that brought items to that.
I wasn't aware of that.
That's the whole point. That's the only way you can get 10 different items at a Thanksgiving Day dinner. True. You couldn't possibly sit at home and make 10 items. You got a family of 3 or 4 people. What are you going to do with all that food? It's impossible what they're even talking about doing here. It's just stay home at that point.
It gets worse, man. Wear a mask while preparing food or serving food to others who don't live in your household. So if you do plan to share food with others, they want you to wear a mask in the privacy and comfort of your home while preparing that food. All attendees should have a plan for where to store their mask while eating and drinking.
You need a plan for that?
Keep it in a dry, breathable bag to keep it clean between uses. This is real life, man.
Putting it in a bag doesn't clean your mask, okay?
Limit people going in and out of the areas where food is being prepared or handled, such as in the kitchen or around the grill. Have one person who is wearing a mask serve all of the food so that multiple people are not handling the serving utensils. Now, I hosted an event recently, an Extra Life event, which is this, they stream games for charities. This one lasted 24 hours, and they needed a place to do it. And I said, hey, I've got the space for it. So, a lot of people came over. They had cakes and some chips and crap to distribute, and they did this. They had one person wearing gloves, who would slice your piece of cake and then hand it to you. And it was bizarre to see. And I didn't like that it was happening.
In your own home?
Yeah, I served myself, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to have a piece of this cake, and no one's going to serve it to me. I'm going to get it myself, and if you don't like it, you can end your stream and get the hell out. I'm also not wearing a mask here.
How many of them were wearing masks?
Only one of them.
Okay, that's good.
So, yeah.
Was it the guy serving?
No, it was a girl that was serving, and
Okay.
I don't remember if she ever wore a mask or not.
Yeah.
I know that only one person wore a mask in a way that anyone had to be concerned about because she had some sort of autoimmune disease or something like that. I don't remember the details. This was like 4 o'clock in the morning when I really encountered these people, because otherwise I was not home or I was sleeping. So my period of interacting with them was when there was a small number of people there anyway. I don't know what happened there, but they did have one person serving all of the food. What a crappy job that must be. Use single-use options or identify one person to serve shareable items like salad dressings, food containers, plates, and utensils, and condiments. Make sure everyone washes their hands. Again, good advice. Designate a space.
By the way, the same advice has appeared multiple times, because it said earlier in the same document, make sure everyone washes their hands often, it said.
Well, it's good to repeat things like that, right? Because if a person hears something 3 times, then it will stick in their head better than just hearing it once. So I understand that. Hey, look, say as many times as you want that people should wash their hands. I'm okay with that. Designate a space for guests to wash hands after handling or eating food. Limit crowding in areas where food...
What, you have to have one sink for that? A special spot for people to wash their hands?
Yeah, I'm a bit perplexed by it as well. Wouldn't they just go to the bathroom and wash their hands?
This is so micromanaged. I mean, it is everything. It is max to the max. You have to designate which space to go and wash your hands. What's wrong with just going to any bathroom sink?
I don't know.
Oh, you have to have a plan with what to do with your mask. What, you need a special bag for that. What?
I don't know, man. I ball mine up and throw it in my purse.
Right. Who cares?
I don't care. I'm not wearing it to keep me safe or to keep anyone else safe. I'm wearing it because there are some places that I need to go. Less so today, now that a particular store is selling me items that I otherwise have to get from Cumberland Farms, which requires me to wear a mask.
I didn't wear a mask in Cumberland Farms.
Really?
Nope.
Well, I see them every day, so...
All the more reason not to.
Yeah, I would agree.
They didn't say anything to me.
Interesting. They did me.
Oh.
And so did the
Did you
people
tell them
at
you're medically
T-Bird.
exempt?
I didn't tell them anything.
Well, try that.
I just left.
No, there's that too. I would say I'm medically exempt, and if they keep pushing it, they're like, well, we don't care. We don't want your kind around here. Then I'll say, all right, well, I'll go shop somewhere else. Thank you. Goodbye, or whatever. So
see, I prefer I want to try out the argument. I'm trans and I refuse to hide my face from the world. I want to try that argument.
That's a good one.
Like, I spent 20 years.
They won't know what to
hiding
say.
Exactly, right? Like, I spent enough time hiding my face from the world. Now back off, right?
Yep.
How will that go down? Right?
Don't tease. Do it.
I've got to find somewhere that gives me the opportunity to. And so far, no one has really challenged me on not wearing a mask.
That's good. Nobody got kicked out of, our co-host, nobody got kicked out apparently of Dunkin' Donuts today. But he didn't try the exemption.
D'Angelo's has no sign up, I've noticed, saying that signs are required. They're the only restaurant I've seen that didn't.
That doesn't have a sign up?
Yeah.
Saying that masks are required?
No sign.
Fucking Great doesn't have it.
Okay,
And neither
well,
does
of course
Fritz. The place we went today, there was no signage on that door.
The Jamaican spot that we like has a sign that says, please wear a mask.
Yep.
But it's please.
Unenforced.
Yeah, it's a request, so to speak. So change and launder linen items like seat covers, tablecloths, linen napkins immediately following the event. Again, offer no touch trash cans for guests to easily throw away food items. Wash dishes in the dishwasher or with hot soapy water immediately following the gathering.
Well, why does it matter whether it's immediate? I mean, what does it matter?
I don't know.
You're gonna wash the dish. I mean, look, I support washing your dishes quickly, right? I don't want to make it sound like I like leaving dishes stacked. But does it matter whether you let them sit there for an hour while you go visit with grandma before, she has to go home or whatever? I think you can probably leave the dishes stacked there for an hour, and it's not like COVID's not gonna jump off the dish and attack you.
We have more stupid suggestions from the CDC, and again, avoid singing. They really don't want people being merry. This is Free Talk Live.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves and talk about whatever is on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
And it's Ian.
And we're going over the CDC's insane guidelines for those people who absolutely have to celebrate Thanksgiving or get together with their families for the holidays or whatever they're trying to do. I'm surprised.
No, it's for those who have to or those who want to but feel like they have to be in the most obedient manner as possible. Because there are those of us who would like to have a celebration and will be ignoring all of this crap.
That's true.
So this is for the people who want to be as safe as they can.
Visitors.
And it is crazy.
It is. Including the most horrific one, I think, so far. I mean, all of these are really bad, but they're bad for different reasons. In my opinion, the most horrific one was basically keep your pets locked away and don't let them interact with anyone not in your household. Absolutely.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. Visitors should launder clothing and masks and stow luggage away from common areas upon arrival. So,
hold on.
Yes. Upon arrival.
Wait. It's just written wrong, right? Should launder their clothing and masks upon arrival. Like, there's the extra words in there. If you read it in a certain way, it sounds like they're saying you should do your laundry right when you get there. That's not what they actually mean, though. They mean...
Dude, the whole thing is insane. That may be what they actually mean. Because you could have gotten the coronavirus on your suitcase.
Bring an extra pair of clothes so you can change into it once you get there.
Keep them vacuum sealed so that the COVID doesn't get to them. Wash hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, especially upon arrival. Wear masks while inside the house. I am not going into anyone's house if they ask me to put on a mask first.
Nope.
Mask may be removed for eating, drinking, and sleeping, but individuals...
Oh, thank goodness I can turn it on, get rid of it while I'm sleeping. Thanks, CDC.
Yeah, can you imagine waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and you need to go to the restroom and be like, oh, I got to grab my mask. I'm at Grandma's house. Can't just walk down the bathroom. Can't just walk down the hallway.
Well, that's what they're doing at restaurants, so why wouldn't they do it there too?
Again, treat pets as you would other human family members. Do not let... I agree with that statement in general. It's where it proceeds that I lose interest. Do not let pets interact with people outside the household. I would argue...
Which we've already heard.
You should more or less let your pets do whatever they want as long as it's not damaging to them or to you or to your property.
Is it going to tell us something new here? Because it's... I mean, there's...
It's just, well, I mean, there's different angles. Avoid singing or shouting, especially indoors.
Yeah.
So it
seems to be
offers
repeating the same.
Yeah, it offers the same sort of tips, but from a different viewpoint. Like if you're the traveler, then the first thing you should do when you get there is wash your clothes.
I see.
Or whatever. So yeah, monitor hosts and guests for symptoms of COVID-19, such as fever, cough, or shortness of breath. Yeah, because it's November the freaking 24th. People definitely, if they're coughing, it's 100% COVID and not allergies or a cold or the flu or any of these other sicknesses that we see all the time. Stay home for 14 days after your last contact. Oh, that's not new. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of that.
Yeah. Well, no, is that what they want you to do? Is after you go to Thanksgiving, you have to then quarantine for 14 days? That's what most of the states are going to want you to do.
That's what I thought it was going to say, but it ended up saying after your last contact with a person who has COVID-19. So that's pretty much the end of it.
But the state governments want you to quarantine when you leave.
They do. Well, let's go to the phones. We've got David calling from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Objection.
Okay.
But there's one brewery, 377 Brewery, something like that, here in Albuquerque, just outside Albuquerque. They I heard them call into a local radio station. They made one sale today for $16 of revenue.
Wow.
Today, gross revenue. Yeah, and this is a long established brewery. It's been there for years and years and years. They made $16 today.
Well, that's incredible.
Now, I've never gone to any of the breweries here in New Hampshire. We have several, but they're like sit-down restaurants.
Yeah, every place in New Hampshire that sells alcohol also has to have food. Okay. So basically, you can't have a bar. They're all technically restaurants.
See, what I would have understood a brewery to be would be a alcohol processing and distribution center. The place where they brew it.
Well, there's those places, but they also, some of them have a front where you can actually buy it as well. And New Hampshire actually has what's called a nano brewery license, which, I'm not in favor of licenses for anything, but this is, given that you're probably not going to abolish the Liquor Commission right away as a movement of activists, because they're fairly entrenched and they bring the state a lot of money, right? So, so some free staters, some libertarian activists up here actually pushed for this nano brew license, which makes being a brewery who sells some amount, and I don't remember what the limit is, right? Because there's a certain number of gallons that you can brew in a year or something like that. But you can actually brew your own beer, and you can sell it to people as the nano brew license, and it's relatively easy to get, from what I understand, in New Hampshire.
So what kind of brewery is this, David?
One that's going to die soon, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's your standard brew pub. Like you got you go in and you order your food and beers sitting at the table or at the bar, and so it's basically a restaurant, but a brew pub. But they make their own beer in the back as what makes it a brew.
So you said this guy called into talk radio to talk about how terrible business is?
Yeah, called in to say, hey, that they made made one sale all day long.
Did he speculate on why that is?
Didn't have to speculate. It's the COVID shutdown in New Mexico. Oh, and in New Mexico,
what's the shutdown there? I mean, what have things gotten worse recently? What's going on?
Yeah, just in time, right after the election or whatever, for the MLG, Michelle Lujan Grisham, the governor. Oh, there's some real sweet memes on the internet where she's the Grinch and stuff like that. If you look up Michelle Lujan Grisham, governor of New Mexico, there's some pretty good ones. But she locked down as tight as has been locked down here in New Mexico. She did another 2-week round where she literally shut everything down all over again. It's been a total circus, and you'd have to just, if you want the details, search it on the internet. It's just basically all shut down, and you can only have 5 people in your home at Thanksgiving dinner. Only 5 people. Only 5.
We don't have a new 2-week lockdown here in New Hampshire, but we're seeing exactly the same thing. Finding a place to eat tonight was moderately difficult. Mm-hmm. Both of our first choices turned out to be closed.
Yep.
And it's largely because sales are down. There's no point in staying open. The restaurant bar that we frequent that takes cryptocurrency closed, at least for a few days, it would seem. Mm-hmm. Then we tried the Jamaican place. They're closed. They've always been closed on Mondays, and they were briefly closed on Tuesdays. But we did finally find a place to eat, and we were the only people there.
There were a couple of walk-ins for takeouts while we were there.
Were there?
Mm-hmm.
Takeout is popular, and delivery is very popular.
Sure. And the reason why it's popular is because those people are likely afraid.
Yeah. But yeah, we're seeing the same things here, David. Restaurants aren't.
They're down.
Yeah,
numbers are down.
They're going to be closed.
Yeah,
there's no way they can survive this.
Yeah, and well, a lot of them also died earlier this year.
Yeah, during the first round.
Yep, and now it's going to be round 2, and people are scared as they've ever been, apparently. So all the fear is ramping up. The ICUs are full. Fear, fear, fear. And, got to lock down again. Pause. As our caller pointed out, we've got to pause. It's pause time. Pausing all of the things that could make you money and have a nice life. And,
you can't pause the need to eat and the need to pay your bills.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Well, the government goons will have enough money to pay their bills.
Sure, they will.
So it's okay.
But they don't care about the masses of people that are struggling to pay their bills.
They pretend like they care. Right.
Sure.
So on one hand,
here's your $1,200 check that will last you basically 2 weeks.
Well, right, and of course that hasn't happened for months now, right? Like that's been
right, but people are still dreaming
away.
That it's going to happen again.
Right. So they pretend like they care because all of the language is all about saving lives. That's what it's all about. No amount of sacrifice is enough to save one life, and so
including the lives of 15 million minks.
Yeah,
we talked about that recently, where Denmark murdering 15 million animals in order to save just one human life.
Just wait until they determine that dogs can definitely carry COVID. There's already been suggestions that they could, which is why they're restricting their access at the Thanksgiving dinners.
Yeah, the same for cats.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got news for them. I do treat my pets as family members.
Yep.
You're asking me to kill a family member, and I will not comply.
Oh, they won't be asking. If it comes down to that.
And I won't be speaking when I respond to them. Man, this is a crazy world. I can't believe some of the
crazy.
things that we've talked about tonight. The police are going to confiscate people's. There's a real chance that over Thanksgiving, the police will actually kick in someone's door and confiscate their turkey. The troll in me can't wait to see that, but the human in me is weeping. Thanks for listening. This has been Free Talk Live. We do this every night. Head on over to freetalklive.com, freetalklive.com.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have 2 cats, Sweet Pea and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard